Well, hello everybody. And welcome to the end of Heart of Thorns. Oh my god, how fast has time moved? Wow. It's funny because I remember, you know, if we rewind the clock maybe 5 months, you know, I would find it absolutely crazy that an expansion would be coming so soon. And even with the leaks, right, even with the stuff that we knew, I thought they would be coming about now, let alone these weird rumors that maybe somehow the devs had a bit of an internal delay or whatever, and episode 6 wasn't even originally scheduled to be a thing, let alone that stuff. Can you imagine how quickly POF feels like it would have come out then? 18 months they spent making this. I hope that the next one they get at least 18, maybe up to 24. And we get like, can you imagine how much Living World we'd get with that, considering there'd be no content drought and stuff? It'd be absolutely crazy. What was that logging panel? A mod? No, that's just a video made by Welk, which I throw on the background at the start of streams. I get asked that pretty much every day. Thanks very much for the sub there, 4 sticks. So anyway, check it out, guys. Basically, it's the end of Heart of Thorns. I figured let's do a stream where we take a bit of an overview, a bit of a look back at Heart of Thorns, and we talk about what we liked about it. Not necessarily a big review or whatever, but just funsies, right? And just sort of an homage, if you will. A brief tour. In fact, I thought it might be fun to try and squeeze in. We won't be able to do a meta from every map, just a Dragon standalone would take ages, but we can maybe try and get 1 or 2 metas of something in, but as well we'll go into Living World Season 3 and go to all those different places. But yeah, so this is sort of the closing days for Heart of Thorns. Obviously it will continue to exist, and if anything, I actually think it might get a flush of extra activity once Path of Fire is out, as new people are interested in gliding, and then they'll go back, and hopefully the maps won't instantly all die. That's not what this is really supposed to be. But yeah, so I figured we'd start it off with something quite cool. Let me turn off the Stellaris soundtrack there, which, yeah, is what you've been hearing. I was talking about that in the Spud Club Discord a bit last night, and I wanted to show that on today's stream. So let's go watch the intro to Heart of Thorns, shall we? Ooh, who remembers this?
The journey of the hero is filled with trials. Trials of courage. Trials of loss. Trials of war. Each forging the hero in the fires of resolve, wisdom, and strength, propelling them into the unknown. This journey never ends. The hero's journey is to become legend.
Rest in peace, Stronghold. You know, I really like how when they had challenging group content up, they showed the dragon stand meta. And it just kind of shows what maybe they were initially imagining that Jizz was all going to be about. That's quite funny. Anyway, there you go. Whoa, Heart of Thorns, guys. Someone said it earlier in the chat, and I genuinely agree with them, that that was probably a better trailer than the POF one. Like, looking objectively at the two, I think after the POF, you know, the initial hype and stuff's worn off, there was a lot more meat in the Heart of Thorns one. Wasn't there? Really? So, of course, we do have another question coming up, right? And that's the initial announcement trailer. That was what they showed at PAX South. That's the equivalent of what we've seen for Path of Fire so far. What about then? Ooh, what about the release trailer? So Heart of Thorns obviously had a release trailer and a launch trailer, and it was this.
I am this world. You are a part of me. It is time to come home. All will serve the jungle dragon. We serve no one.
So, you know, I do all this whinging. Well, I don't do all this whinging, but I do occasionally do a bit of whinging about, you know, that they don't do good CGI trailers anymore. What do you guys think? Does that count as a CGI? Because it clearly isn't in the engine. You know, it's clearly not showing game assets and stuff. It clearly, you know, they've clearly paid some company to make it. And yet here I am sort of sitting saying, oh, they need to do them better. Do you guys think that that is good enough? Obviously, it doesn't show anything that actually happens in game. It's just a representation of the idea of the game. There is no one scene where Ritlock's there with all of those characters and we attack a giant vine in that way or whatever. That's not the final boss. It doesn't depict anything specific. And, you know, I think that as a trailer, it loses points for that. You know, one of the reasons... I talked quite a lot lately about that Witcher trailer. One thing that's really cool about that is that it so closely matches what the gameplay has to offer. I mean, I suppose Ritlock does quite distinctly use Herald abilities and... I don't know. But do you guys think that that's good enough? Someone says this is better. I don't know. One thing that really struck me about that specific trailer is when, back in the day, when Heart of Thorns was going on, they, I can't believe I just described that as back in the day, but NCSoft would host direct download versions of the trailers and stuff on the NCSoft media site. And if you were savvy and you went there and you got them, you could get higher quality because things would end up getting a bit butchered after it went through the studio and then went onto YouTube, which was where most of us watched that stuff. And that specific trailer, when you watch the actual raw, proper, uncompressed, unre-encoded, good trailer, there's a lot more detail there than you'd realize. And the funny thing is, when you can draw, when that clarity is there, you realize actually how plain a lot of it is as well at the same time. So it's a curious one, but I am very keen to see what they'll do with Path of Fire. Now, apparently that could be coming out tomorrow, which scares the shit out of me because I got to do videos and stuff before that comes out. Yeah, we just had a donation. What? A donation of 100 SEK 100. What is that? What is SEK100? Is that like a troll thing? Langdus though says, just rewatched your old lore videos from 2012 to 2013. Vohio, good stuff. Thanks very much, man. I really appreciate that sentiment. I'm sorry, I don't know how to... Oh, they're Swedish crowns, are they? Really? What's a Swedish crown worth? Is that like some insane donation? It's 10 euro? Okay, well, thank you very much. 10 euro is still very lovely. Thank you very, very much. I was a bit scared there. I didn't know what was going on. That's so cool. I've never had anyone donate some Swedish crowns. Thank you. Wait, what? Crowns? Krona? 1/10 of a euro? All right, well, anyway, that's really badass. Thank you very, very, very much. That's really cool. And yeah, the 2012 to 2013 stuff. I'm glad you're enjoying that. But yeah, so that was kind of that trailer, and I'm curious to see what they do. We could see if they go with like a kind of a fixation on the Elder Dragon again, we might see something fun come from that. Just for reference, do you guys want to see the core launch trailer? I suppose we're doing a Heart of Thorns stream, so we don't need to do that. What else really came out? What else was hype about the roll into Heart of Thorns? Do you guys remember this? I'm sure we'll all love. So, how do we feel watching that? Something really weird and surreal just happened in chat. Are there two mates? Someone said, hello, is Alex here? And someone responded by saying, someone called, it's not Alex, said no. Is that two random people that orchestrated that? That was really weird. Nobody even commented on that in chat. Anyway, what do we guys think? So someone said, in before, a well-designed map gets crucified by the Wild versus Wild community, even though it's gorgeous and blah, blah, blah. What do you guys think? Seriously now, like, long-term, have you played it since gliding's been in? Have you played it since the launch pads are in and the territories and stuff? What do we think, after all that time, about that specific aspect of Heart of Thorns? Because this is a part of Heart of Thorns I've really played so little of. Like, genuinely, if there's any one thing I've barely done anything of, it's the Desert Borderlands. So here's another thing. We're going to watch it. I think I noticed something. In this trailer, don't they depict sieging an area that isn't actually a part of the game? So let's watch that again. It's going to be, like, very quiet in the background, all right? And I'm going to keep talking this time. But there's a moment where they, like, siege some high platform, like, way up in the sky or something. And I don't... is that a thing? Am I just that bad at the Desert Borderlands that I don't know about that? I'm watching very closely. I'll tell you when it comes up. But yeah, it's like one of these platforms quite high up. And it gets sieged. Do people actually siege those? Is there purpose to that? It's hard to watch for it and read chat as well. Someone says, I love the Desert Borderlands, but not when it's my Borderlands. Yeah, that's the point, right? That people don't, people don't like defending it, and it's like a free, or I don't know, like people, I really don't know well enough. People like it's an instant loss or something, or it's not worth defending, or it's too big, or it's the other way around and it's a free defense. This here, watch this. Look at them siege that platform up there. Does that ever actually happen? Right there. There we go. We saw it. I can go back to chat now. Does that ever happen? It's way too large and too busy. See, I don't know. I feel like now all these comments that it's too large are totally based on early, much earlier opinions that people just aren't updating because people struggle to update opinions on things. I mean, one thing that I think genuinely everyone really didn't like was the big event that spawns in the middle, right? And they just cut that straight up. There is a turret up there in the central keep. Okay, so that is a thing. That's interesting. Okay. That happens because of the mortar that I used to defend, using trebs to destroy siege. Honestly, it's old stigma, all the negativity. Well, what does the community do to try and swap that around? Because there's cards, especially when you get to Twitch, there's a big part where it's just people were like, I'm going to meme, I'm going to be sarcastic, and I'm going to make many jokes because I'm very witty. There's that all the time in Twitch chat. But, so we're going to get a bit of people saying, lol, it sucks, without any actual intellect behind it. But is it really? I love that room as well there, by the way. That room's so beautiful. Is it really that there's no... is there not a chance that it is genuinely still bad? Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here. You feel like gliding made this Borderlands much better? Really now? That's interesting. Desert Borderlands is pretty cool, but it's always dead compared to EVG, so it's hard to tell exactly how good it is. That's a shame, right? If it's cool now and it's been improved. May's LeMayo. Hey, he sounds like me, says Sean. Hello, Sean. I noticed you called me the N-word yesterday, by the way. That was an interesting choice right there. Wild vs. Wild at the moment is better than ever now with the rewards revamp. I mean, I really enjoyed it when I was playing it recently, but that was more the Alpine Borderlands and stuff. So what do we think, guys? Mounts would fix the problem of it being too large? What, mounts but only in territories you can control? That's going to be a big thing, I think, for the Path of Fire days, definitely. So let's do another one, shall we? Let's see another aspect of the expansion. What about this one? So someone there said scrapped features in trailer. What was scrapped that we saw in that trailer? Waldir said why mounts in only controlled areas. I don't know. It was just an idea. Maybe they wouldn't have to do it, but making it a bigger part of the gameplay sounds interesting. Yeah, like what was scrapped from the Guildhall trailer that you could see there that never ended up being there? Some stuff ended up a bit late, like the anthems or whatever, but, you know. I mean, I've talked a lot about what I liked with guild halls and where I think they could be better and how they got like a huge distance. I've talked a lot about how you remember how excited everyone was about Heart of Thorns. That was the big one. That was the main thing that everyone thought they wanted. And I was the cynical dick at the time saying, no, it's not even going to be that good. It's just nostalgia from Guild Wars 1. It doesn't work in Guild Wars 2. It's not necessary. And then it came out and we did a 180. The community decided, yeah, they didn't like them. And I decided, oh no, they are actually really good. Maybe I just feel like I have to be counter-jerking all the time, right? Oh, the downward gliding. Oh, yes. Yeah. Downward gliding, that is a thing. Yeah, if you guys didn't notice, there's a moment where a player is properly, like, gliding downwards, like, at full speed, face down. It seems like it's the kind of thing you'd imagine, like, they're pressing a button on their skill bar, and holding it down is making them dive, and then releasing would make them swing up, and maybe... I don't know, there's interesting things they could do with that, because if you think of gliding in real life, there is that thing, and a lot of games do it, where you go down deliberately to gain a lot of speed, and then you pull up, and you can, like, sort of do like a U-bend kind of thing. You can arc your way back up, obviously not to the height you were originally at, but then that allows you to clear obstacles and stuff. A lot of games that have gliding mechanics do that as sort of a method of moving around. Guild Wars 2's gliding never did any of that. In fact, it was very clunky, actually, and bare bones when they first showed it to us, and then they basically just stopped being clunky. People like gliding. I'm not going to complain about gliding, but it does look like in that trailer that was an aspect of gliding they were maybe playing with, right? Or it's some really weird camera trickery that I don't quite understand. You wish someone would counter-jerk me? Sounds awesome. Ooh, baby. Oh, we had a sub. Thank you very much. We've actually had a couple. OKTMySTYQ earlier. Thank you. Road Warrior. Irindil Yolanda says, keep up the good work, WP. I've been a fan of your work for a long time, and I'm happy I can finally support you. My good sir, you should be so proud of all you've done and achieved over the years. Thank you very, very, very much. That's really lovely. I'm glad to see you sub for 2 months in a row. That's really lovely. And I feel like I've let everyone down, honestly, rolling in to Path of Fire these past 2 weeks. But hey, there you go. Thank you very much, Sager again as well. Thank you. Derpy David, it's good to see you, dude. You ready to kick some godly ass this weekend? Hopefully, or just make a lot of videos. So that's the guild halls. It was interesting seeing chat there as it scrolled past. Even if you don't get a direct response, guys, when these trailers are up, I'm basically just watching chat and seeing your opinions. There's no point in me putting mine out there again. You know, I already fucking wrote a ridiculous amount of stuff and talked of a ridiculous amount of stuff in a series about it. So here's the next feature that I already made a little bit of a joke about a second ago, but I think nonetheless. We'll be curious to watch. So this, we had to watch, buried in the middle of some other developer streams. We just had a donation. Hold on. Oh my God. Baron TV1. Seen as though we're getting mounts, now do you think all the future maps will be bigger? And also, in one of the developer videos, they said, I think people enjoy this current set of mounts, which leads me to believe there'll be more with each expansion pack. Yeah, definitely. And over Living World and stuff, I think we'll get more. Definitely. They just need inspiration on how to do it. They've talked quite openly about struggling with inspiration for the wolf at the end. So I hope that they've got good ideas. I think the Griffin's probably quite well laid out, as we've seen from the leaks and stuff. But beyond that, maybe like an underwater mount that I can see a lot of space for. And then after that, I don't know. A full-on flying thing for only specific maps. All right, anyway, so this, what do we think of this? It came with Heart of Thorns. How much have we played? And I would genuinely say I have experienced more of this than the Desert Borderlands, though neither of them have I experienced very much. Let's do it. So there you go. Even the trailer seemed a bit, you know, close to the bone. A bit pushed in there. There you go. All right, there it is. It kept going. I started talking in the middle, and then I remembered it was two different ones that were pieced together. So Stronghold, even the trailer for Stronghold, you can kind of feel like, you know, the gas canister's empty at this point, but they're still holding down the nozzle. So what did we think about Stronghold? Did we play a lot of it in the end? Did we just use it to cheese high ranks in early seasons, PvP seasons? Why is Stronghold not in ranked PvP? They just sort of haven't updated it. They haven't looked back at it. I was very clear about this on my review for Heart of Thorns. I think that this is like a real sore spot for that expansion. Like a real sore spot. It does not surprise me that PvP, well, versus world to an extent, but PvP hasn't had anything. You know, I think if we look at Heart of Thorns as instead of one product, but 3 products, and that's a silly thing to do, but for this discussion it works, right? If we look at Heart of Thorns, not as one product, but 3, there's a PvE game that they released, there's a PvP game that they released, and there's a world versus world large-scale, you know, battleground style thing that they released. Which ones were failures and which were not? I genuinely think that the world versus world thing that they released, the Desert Borderlands, I think that got a lot more, like, ill press than it deserved, because especially when compared to Stronghold was like a really miserable failure. Stronghold was like truly in the pit. Stronghold's like not good. The community response, there's utterly nothing, right? At least for world versus world, there's a community to interface with it and sort of talk about it. I mean, I really think, but yeah, and weirdly, like, if you were to just read the room of the Guild Wars 2 community, I think you would see people saying that the Desert Borderlands was somehow the worst crime. That's the impression you'd get, and it really wasn't, you know, to me anyway. I think Stronghold's really, you know, it's a black mark. It is. What a waste of time. Have I talked about Reaper Necro changes recently? No. What, has there been a patch that I didn't know about last night or something? I don't think so. Do you think ArenaNet should move random arenas and team arenas like Guild Wars 1 instead of current system? No. Dude, do you know how many times they've rewritten and reworked the PvP stuff? For you to flippantly come in and say, oh, let's just do the Guild Wars 1 thing is insane. That would have been a consideration on every single revamp they've done, and they won't have done it. No, I like the league system that we've got at the moment. I like the automated tournaments to accentuate that, to punctuate that. I think that is quite good, actually. I really do. I just think that that specific game type never got the love it deserved, and now is not a part of ranked. It's probably Stronghold is so dead that it doesn't even come to mind. Yeah, and you know, that's the true black mark right there, you know. I wonder whether there would be more of an outcry about it and more discussion about it and stuff if it had been forced into ranked, you know, and it was randomly selected. It wasn't like you'd queue in. It was like, and that's so bad for so many reasons, because different team comps and things would work for different maps. But I kind of like the idea that, oh, well, I don't know, with the class swapping stuff, it sort of doesn't work. But anyway, that's a different... See, there's a form of PvP in Guild Wars 2, if you can imagine it. Imagine that there's like 5 different game types. There's CTF, there's, you know, Oddball, there's Assault, which is sort of, you get what I mean, there's Stronghold, blah, 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 Conquest, Deathmatch. And when you queue in on ranked, if we lived in a world where you'd be like profession locked and stuff, and they did, you know, you can't stack classes and all that shit, which is other discussions we don't have to have. But if all of that existed, the top PvP teams and highest rated people, they would all be like, they wouldn't be masters of conquest, they'd be masters of all, and they'd have their 5 classes and 5 players who can adapt very quickly to any like various game type, and certain team comps would be better under certain game types than others, and that's essentially recapturing what was so good about Heroes Ascent in the first game. And you kind of get this idea that to be a master of Guild Wars 2's PvP, you have to have a broad capability, you know, like, so if you think of any of the current very competitive top teams, maybe in the world I'm talking about, those players would still be amazing and very good, but they're like conquest specialists, and there's opportunity for stronghold specialists to pip them broadly, you know, across a full, you know, a range, you know, like a triathlon style thing, instead, and it sort of gives more opportunity. But I just don't think, you know, it's fundamentally a very different thing, I think, at that point. Am I Path of Fire hyped yet? Sure, I mean, I have been for a while. What do you mean? Let's keep going. So, what else do we want to look at? This is going to be a weird one, but I do think it'll be a fun one to look at. Who remembers this? So what do we think? How do we feel watching that? Did playing a Dragon Hunter end up feeling how you thought it would? Who remembers the hatred for the name? How do we feel about the name Dragon Hunter of Guild Wars 2 today? Are we just acclimated to it? But do we still hate it? And more broadly speaking, how do you guys feel looking back on their introduction of the first generation in terms of like the way they marketed it? We only had 3 of those trailers. What do we think? Did Bram pick up his mother's bow and become a proper dragon hunter, as many people speculated immediately when that came out? Did anyone have that experience in the jungle of trapping and then hiding on a branch, hitting the enemy with a trap, and then, you know, using like what would appear to be some kind of longbow-based kill shot, which was, of course, we know is True Shot, the 2. Doesn't look much like Dragon Hunter. Do we hate that it was a trapping character and a ranged character, despite that being so anti to what the Dragon Hunter was all about thematically? Are we now calming down now that there are 2 elite specializations, and maybe it's not so bad that Dragon Hunter exists and it doesn't feel very much like regular Guardian and turns stuff on its head? What's virtuous about trapping, you know, and so on? Does it really matter so much? Waldis is still lame. No one uses bow on Dragon Hunter anyways. These PvEers. What is this? Christ almighty. Spoken with such conviction. I don't think you should be allowed to talk about Guild Wars 2 unless you play all 3 game types. I think you should be globally muted on all streams, all forums, all Reddit discussion, everything. You should just... There should be no discussion. That's it. Global muting. I use bow on mine. Hi, horse. Obviously, that's a joke. Let me just be clear. WP is my spirit animal now. Yeah, bust out those high horses. Seems the POF Elite specs were done better than the Heart of Thorns in terms of advertising them. Yeah, so Path of Fire, they got trailers out for every single one, didn't they? So we only had 3 on Heart of Thorns. That was one of them. This was another. This was the first one. You know, for the Chrono trailer, I will always be astounded at how much screen time they give to a guy just using mirror images. Literally, it's just a person using a regular core Mesmer skill and then the double clones walking over to the foe. And they're like focusing on it and the camera's moving in. It's like, oh, look at all this crazy Chrono stuff. And it's like, what? This is not a Chronomancer thing. This is mirror images. What? So yeah, Chrono, that was the first one. I think there's a lot of interesting discussion from Chrono. I saw a Reddit thread just yesterday, people talking about, you know, Guild Wars always wanted to move away from looking for healer culture. And we don't have looking for healer culture, really. They have succeeded in their ambition to have multiple classes be able to fill the same role, the same niche. But when it comes to the Chronomancer, they do have a looking for healer culture. They have a looking for chrono culture because of its, you know, its extraordinary capability to maintain perma alacrity and quickness when no one else can. So, what do you guys think about that? That's not me. That's not me smoking. It's not necessarily. We don't even necessarily... I mean, Druid comes to it as well. Yeah, Druid's kind of a thing. So, but aside from that, I think Chrono's been really fun. I think it was really well designed. It's got a really interesting mechanic. I think Chrono is so good. Unfortunately, a lot of Mirage stuff catches flack over it just because it's in this ridiculous competition with Mirage. There are people out there who are like... They don't think that any part of design is worth it unless the build becomes meta. And unseating Chrono is going to be a real challenge for all upcoming Mesmer stuff. Maybe we'll see changes to Continuum Split or something. Hello, Jetest. You're a fan from India. That's really cool, dude. And so then the last one. This was my favorite of the 3. Who remembers which one it was that we got? It was, of course, the Reaper.
Peggy 12.
Gravedigger. Whoa, look at all that crazy power damage, guys. Oh my god. Yeah. I'm being cheesy and trolly there, obviously. The truth is, Reaper does have some very high sustaining, nice, meaty, weighty attacks. And it's seen some place, but not in raiding and fractals necessarily. And does that mean that the whole thing is a failure? How do we feel right as we move into Path of Fire? Look how good that chiller was. Yeah, I mean, Reaper was badass. I really do like Reaper. So what do you guys think? Might makes him right? Did that voiceover appear in there? Might makes me right? Did it? WP banned for showing PG-12 footage without our consent. Yeah, did they have like an extra like age disclaimer on there? That's why Hollowsmith equals Reaper in a way. I can see that, definitely. Feels very similar going into the Forge mode than it does going into Shroud. Not viable! Oh, interesting. Power meta is still AMA. It's amazing in open world, but it's not meta for raiding. So is that the be all and end all if it's not meta raiding? If it's, is that it? Is it worthless? What do you guys think? Power Necro is still lol worthy. I mean, honestly, Power Necro, running like a Valkyrie Power Necro in open world is fucking fun. It's tanky as shit. And it hits hard, renewably so. And it scales beautifully in big open world events as well, because stuff starts dying, so you get so much more Shroud, and all your cooldowns are dropping insanely. It's really, really fun. I like it. Your shout scales stronger as well in the big open world stuff. It's nice. It's like probably my favorite way to play Dragon Stand, of all classes and builds, and all of Guild Wars 2, my favorite way to play Dragon Stand is on a Valkyrie's Power Reaper. Power is okay in PvP, I would say that, yeah. You just enjoy donking around. I mean, to a certain extent, there's a certain classification of player that can get enjoyment out of any elite spec because they can get through the story with it, and that's it, you know. And we often forget those. We often throw those to the wayside, and we make out like that there are bigger problems with the game than there are that actually exist. We need a WP soundboard with not viable. Getting a soundboard for the streams is one of those things that I wanted to do for a long time and just sort of never did in the end. So, at that point, we're kind of moving on. Well, that's sort of the main Heart of Thorns stuff, I think, really. Maybe there were some other trailers and things that they released that I just don't have here anymore. But most of the other ones I have from this point on are actually Season 3 and raiding-related ones. So, how about we go in-game? We're going to do a big squad, guys. We're going to all get in-game. We're going to all have funsies. And what we're going to do is explore those maps and talk a little bit about them. Starting off with Verdant Brink. Ignore this. I'm in a Blood Tide coaster at the moment. Starting with Verdant Brink. So let's go in. Let's have some funsies. Need to get to a place where you guys can see chat, which is like so. Now, I'm playing with Fog Off, and I'm playing with Depth Flare and stuff, which you guys might not like, but do me. If you don't. There we go. You guys should be able to hear the game. Here, we'll turn a squad on. Speaking of Valkyrie Reaper, why don't we play one? Here. No bias. What is with all the rees? Lol at all these absolute scrubs saying Reaper is bad. Wow. You don't have to get offensive, man. You don't have to be mean. They're all just people who are enjoying the game, like you. And there's not many of us out there, alright? Guild Wars 2 is tiny. Anyone who knows anything will tell you it's dying. If not already dead. If not, it died in 2012. And, you know, be nice, basically. Show a bit of respect. Bad Reaper Oh my god. Ah, who would have thought it'd be so fun? Guys, do you know what the most fun thing in the world is? Is to go to chat right now. Okay, go to chat. Click in that box at chat that says send a message. It might prompt you at this point to log in, so quickly do that. It's okay, you'll have time. So what you do is you go to chat. This is really fun. This is the most extraordinary thing you can do on Twitch. Twitch.tv, right? You go to chat, and then there's a button.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you for the quality armor comments. There's a button on your keyboard, right? It says caps lock. You wanna hit that, okay? A little light will appear, and that'll tell you that you're on caps lock cruise control, baby. This is how you act on the internet, okay? And then once you've done that, remember, you click in the box, you hit caps lock. You're gonna put an R in there. And you're gonna follow it up by about 20 E's, and you're gonna press enter. And it's probably the most joy you can have. So there you have it. You'll feel one with your nerdlinger friends. We are on NA at the moment. So, I don't even know if I have all my trinkets on this character right now. No, I don't. It's fine. We're okay. This guy typed it in chat, in game as well. That's hilarious. Oh, we got our face cam's looking a bit poopy. There we go. So yeah, let's talk about VB. I'm not going to really do much here, but we are going to run around. How do we feel about Verdant Brink at this point? What kind of loot did we get, first of all? So we had fallen airship parts. Does anyone remember their first experience of learning what this stuff was? Thorns runes, one of the stronger rune sets. The bladed armor. That might make you remember that, you know, Heart of Thorns didn't have too many new gear sets. Minstrels was the stat associated with this. We've got foods. What were the foods that were here? I don't really know, to be honest. And of course, we had all the stuff to do with the elite specialization collections and Shaz. So yeah, we got that. Moving on. We had the area with Jaka Itzel, and we had that story that we thought was going to be more important than it ended up in the end, as in it wasn't really at all. This Hunter event, I remember very clearly being ridiculously difficult and bugged for a long time. You guys remember that? That was an absolute bitch. There we go. Look at how comfortable that was. Look at that Power Reaper excellency right there. Yeah, there was, of course, as well, a particular memory for me, the flax farm. Here we've got bugs in the branches. These used to actually be disabled during this event being up. But, of course, right now it's not because the devs changed that. But that was a bit of a problem right at the start of HOT. Fixed with a HOT 2.0 patch. Beneath Jaka Ixel is the flax farm, which I remember Heart of Thorns came out right with the Halloween event festival. And they gave us Night Fury. Remember the hunt for Night Fury, and believing that it was like you had to kill the new bats, the new variety of vampire beasts in the new map to get those things, and it wasn't that in the end. It had that hidden recipe, but it cost an enormous amount of linseed and flack and stuff. So I did a video talking about the flax farm, and I got some accusatory comments that I was manipulating the market at the time. Because I'm not allowed to talk about farms with any kind of audience, if you guys remember that. One of the grossest things was I saw maybe about a year and a half after that happened, genuinely. In a random Reddit thread, someone was talking about me and my videos and stuff. And they were basically just saying, oh, yeah, I can't remember what it was, but they were still hung up on that, essentially. They were, like, angry with me based on that. Talking in a conversation that had nothing to do with a year and a half later that I dared to talk about the flag farm. They were talking about, like, suggesting I was like a big market manipulator or something. Anyway, so yeah, let's drop down. Look at no shade, no fog when you look down. Makes the roots look really weird. So there you go. I'm leaving the adventure area. I was 157th for the day there, which is pretty cool. Yeah, so we're gonna go this way. These new vampire beasts. Wasn't that the wood farm? No, the wood farm was a similar thing, but a different thing. Oh, was that when I saw the comment? No, the wood farm I did. I can't remember. It wasn't a year and a half after the release of Heart of Thorns Day. But yeah, so remember everyone used to park all their characters down here? This guy even is still parked his character down here. You know, they press F a ton. You could get heaps of gold from this. Watch out in Path of Fire, I guess, for an equivalent of some kind. So there you have it. And these guys would kill the vampire beasts, if you guys all recall. So yeah, what else we got? We've got my favorite area of the map. I really like this. This is what my favorite section of Verdant Brink. I remember the early demos. You see these rocks here? These would never go away in the early demos, I think it was, or something. So you can never get past them. But yeah, you got all of this. Who remembers this? It's beautiful stuff. I'm going to drop the DPS thing there. I mean, honestly, what gorgeous environment design we have here. You can't compete with this, really. This like tile set or whatever you'd want to call it. This is the real stuff right here. How do you feel about the current state of Ventari and Condi Thief in PvP? Ventari Rev. You're talking about the knockback thing? I haven't played it, so I don't really have an opinion on it. I saw Brazil did a couple of videos about it, and he was trying to defend his position that it's very strong. Personally, I don't think that decap builds are uncounterable. Because there's a difference in what is strong in PvP. There's competitively strong, and then there's like randomly playing strong. So like Dragon Hunter, for example, is a good example. Is a good one to go to. because Dragon Hunter was ridiculously strong in random, you know, like solo queue environments and could carry his health, but you'd never see it being played competitively. I think that any kind of decap build like that is similar. Good players can easily out-rotate a decap build. There have been many decap builds in Guild Wars 2's past, many different varieties. And no matter how strong they get, if you're a low mobility character, which as far as I'm aware, that Ventari build is, it will only ever contribute to 33% of the map because it contributes at a single node, and people can play around that. It's just the nature of a decap build. To me, sort of default stance as someone who does PvP a lot, I think decap builds can look a lot stronger than they actually are. But I haven't played, so I don't really have any real opinions on it. Maybe it is overly strong. Maybe it's 20 times better than the best decap builds you've ever seen. But I've played against some hideous decap bollocks from NGs in the past. And especially when they'd specialize for fucking Skyhammer when you could knock people over the edges, which is kind of a different discussion, but still. Anyway, yeah, as for the other build, I can't remember what you asked, so whatever. DOS2 is out now. Taking a look. No, I'm playing Guild Wars and Path of Fire, and then after that, we've got Divinity Original Sin 2. Look at the blur up there. Beautiful. Yeah, and then we have this adventure. That just reminded me of another cool thing on this map that I want to show off. So this adventure is really easy until there's lots of other players around. And then the animations get triggered, and then you get in combat, and then there's all these terrible things. But yeah, this is the salvage pit. Who remembers jumping down this and getting themselves owned instantly back in the early days? I actually really like this adventure. I hope that they do adventures like this in POF. I hope they're not just all about the mounts. There you go, that's salvage pit. I think it's a really interesting place. And yeah, I think this is so fun. I remember exploring here without being able to bounce on mushrooms as well. Would you believe it? I genuinely do. And the experience of climbing around here with no mushrooms is very different. Something sadly is very little more than a distant memory to me now. But yeah, I mean, come on. The lighting, the coloring, even at night, this place looks awesome. Even at night. You never realized there was a big mountain rock thing over there? Yeah, maybe it's usually just turned off by the fog. I mean, that looks really good as well. Oh yeah, there's that as well, if you guys remember. That mastery point where you climb up through the jumping puzzle thing, if you guys recall. And you get all the way to the top of that. I haven't been to the nose of that ship for a long time. So yeah, the other thing I really liked on this map was another one of the adventures, the airship express thingy-mabobber. So let's go do that, if I can remember the way, which I think is over here. There's the blighting tree, which people speculated could have something to do with Malik, but we don't really have any confirmation on that. You wish that masteries were not account bound, but where it was significantly quicker to unlock after your first character. Or just in general, it doesn't even have to be after the first character. But yeah, I mean, if they do that, it becomes a fundamentally different system, so they rebalance everything. You just have to assume that that's what happens then. But yeah, so we get the, what's it called? The Flying Circus, that's it. Flying Circus. What a great little adventure this one was, yeah? So we get to move on through here. And we go follow it along. See, there's a shortcut on this as well that I always forget how to get through. But I love this one also. You know, this was the only adventure that properly played with gliding, as far as I remember. That really played with it. And that's weird because it seems like the Path of Fire ones are set to all interact with the gliding 2.0, which is, you know, mounts. So kind of funny. There were no guys there about to snipe us, so that's nice. Oh, are we going to hit our head? No, we're all right. Oh, here we go. Here's the snipers. So we got to stay stealthed on this. Come on. How did he hit me anyway? If I wasn't an Ellie, I'd be dead right now. That vitality. Oh, yeah, baby. So it's like left here, I think, to do the skip, isn't it? That updraft takes you way too high, and generally speaking... Oh, there it is. It's over there. I went the wrong way. Oh, I want to take it. I'm going to go the shortcut. We're going all the way up. Hold on. So where is it? It's here. Here we go. Shortcut. It's over here. Check it out. Look at the skybox. Beautiful. I mean, these maps really were something, right? They really were. So we come up here. Through this hoop. And then where do we go? Oh, up there. I'm so unfamiliar with this route. This was by far my favorite adventure. It's funny because, yes, it is. It's a lot like Spyro. It's also a lot like that Superman 64, Nintendo 64 game that's infamously horrendous flying controls. Not that this has terrible flying controls, but you go on. So now we go down here. Maybe this isn't a shortcut. This feels a lot longer. Oh, no! Oh, we stopped gliding right as it landed. Oh, wow. Well, anyway, there you go. Flying circus. That's a fun one, definitely, for sure. Oh my god, that's ridiculous. And so, very briefly then, we also have the canopy. So here's another thing that I always think, always remember very clearly doing in Verdant Brink, right? And it's trying to get into the skybox during the day. And there are multiple methods for doing it. And I never let new ones stick in my head, even if they're a lot easier for some reason. I always fail to do this somehow. So this is... this has been my general experience of doing it. I always come up here. You've seen, probably remember multiple streams of me doing this as well. This is quite fiddly. And when I'm streaming, my ability to jump goes like way downhill. But essentially what we do is we come up here. I think it's up here. Yeah, and then what we do is we glide over to this. And up this.
I'm fast as the wind.
And here, right? And so from this, we can glide just about. You should be able to make it to the bottom of this updraft. And you can get into the sky. So here we'll watch everybody come in. But you need lean techniques and you need to make it. And this is my method for the daytime getting into the canopy. So, I mean, this is really quite an extraordinary map. Like, truly. Really exciting map. Lots of fun things about it. And, man, with no fog, you can really see how much there is out there. Obviously, the clipping and stuff's getting really terrible. I remember in the demos, this island here, everyone really wanted to get to, but it was, like, impossible. Of course, now we know that this is where one of the bosses that we fight is. There's another huge updraft there, so that will take us super high. Let's try and get onto that one. And yeah, this is generally VP. The roots probably is the area looking back that had the least. What do you guys think? Do you have any strong memories of hanging out in the roots of Verdant Brink? I certainly don't think I do. And yeah, look at that. Look how high we are. Absolutely enormous map. The sun is huge as well. That's Guild Wars 2 hook doing that too. And there we have it. Not sure if this is old news, but there's an instance right by Lion's Arch. Yeah, we've done that. That is old news. Only thing of note is the flax farm. All right, well, there you go. So, moving on. Let's go to AB, shall we? God, that's gross. The ordnance waypoint is way better. Yeah, I mean, there are better ways. That screenshot there of that entrance, I think they're using some pre-release stuff. Hey, WP, how's the Path of Fire contest going? Submissions are still rolling in. They've slowed right down, though. I would just remind everyone, if you want to win every legendary in the game, I'm currently running a competition for it. And the best time to release a video might be right about now when release lands. So here we go. Auric Basin. So what do you guys think? This is probably the contender for best map in Heart of Thorns, I think. Visually, in terms of the way that the meta works, in terms of the way a lot of the content is spread out. Certainly, I think 3 of my favorite areas of the whole game are right here on this map, like visually. And we'll go explore them. So first, let's just... the one thing I always like doing is gliding down from super high up here. I like what the devs did here. It was like, look, you get gliding, and then the start of the first map has this huge drop, so you get to make fun of... Yeah, you know, you get to make use of the new gliding and have some fun with it. How did I think the biomes played out? By the way, guys, can you hear the game loud enough, yeah? Yeah, the biome thing was, I don't know. We focus on it way too much. It's irrelevant to me, to be honest. There you go. So we get to fly down. All the way down. Across this beautiful map. Super high. Come off of these trees. I mean, what an experience they've given us here, you know? It's great. And we get to drop down to the various outposts. I love all the players that are doing this. The homage to Heart of Thorns. Volume's perfect. I'm good. I'm glad. I'm good. Wow. I abhor Tangled depths for anything other than the meta. It's too confusing. See, I like it. I mean, I think this is beautiful as well, right? Like, Jesus, look at it. And when the stuff gets activated, this area gets its like really nice golden sheen and glow. I love the look of the mountains and things up there, or the rocks, the mesas. So yeah, 2 specifically cool areas. We have the city itself, which you guys have seen lots of on the streams lately, so I'm not going to go there. But we got this pathway. This is sort of pocket wrap to hell I think Dragon Hunter is really fun and easy to climb through here, but like any kind of comedy build is really annoying to fight these pocket raptors. Reaper's probably quite good for wading through these, but I think type a 1 in chat if you have been mauled to death by pocket raptors on this road here. At some point in the Heart of Thorns, if it has happened to you, I would expect pretty much everyone watching, if they played HOT, to be typing a 1 on that. Because like it's like such a standard experience to have. Yeah, I mean, look at that, right? And I like it. This is like a horrible route to run through. It's like the worst just trying to get past these pocket raptors. It depends on the build, obviously. If you guys don't appreciate that, you should try running different builds here. Because some of them, it's really easy. But yeah, you make it past the pocket raptors only to be slaughtered by a veteran smoke scale at the end. This dude over here. Oh, I missed. Rip. We'll stun him as soon as his animation ends. Nice. And they're all going to get slaughtered. You never died on them, but they're annoying as fuck. You've never died on them. Maybe you've just not ran through here that much. I don't know. Or you're an amazing player, which I guess is what you want us to infer from that. But yeah, check this out. The Balthazar area, and, well, not the Balthazar area, we're not there yet. But actually, the Balthazar area itself is here, and it's cool, but it's not actually that pretty. But this is what I love. Zin's Lab, the Falls, getting to come back here in GW2. This fucking awesome guy here. Who remembers this? I don't know music, so let's... I mean, I would love POF to have something like this. So we'll make him play a song.
I've got the target.
Oh my god, what's going on? Ah, the audio, everybody's playing their lutes. Yeah, no, it's great though, right? Like, these are the cool little touches from Heart of Thorns. Absolutely adorable. Very cool. That's your favorite Bob Dylan song. Yeah, and then, you know, getting the mastery point, the vista, falling all the way down, learning about Zin and his ancient golems here, and eavesdropping on the priory representatives. This stuff's awesome. It's a shame there was no story here, but it was about this point that the Heart of Thorns story started becoming too narrow. But, like, I mean, what a beautiful cave. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. I really won't be surprised if after Path of Fire's out, I look back at Heart of Thorns and I'm like, yeah, these maps were actually so beautiful. They're better than the new expansion. Because it's just, like, such a high bar, you know? I think if there's one thing, and I said this about my own review as well, if there's one thing that I never, like, properly... applauded Heart of Thorns for and talked enough about, it's how amazing these maps truly are, like graphically and visually, aesthetically. I think, right, it's so good. They did such a good job. I think that not enough people in the broader gaming community understand just how amazing these maps are. Like, if these existed in another game, like a AAA game that you know, had other perks and stuff going for it, these would go down in like history as like genuinely some of the most beautiful areas you can visit in video gaming flat, right? And I really, that might be a bit hyperbolic, but I really do believe in that. You worry about the Path of Fire maps being too flat compared to Heart of Thorns? Yeah, maybe, for sure. Because there's less to play with, right? It's not such a tangled mess. So, another really beautiful area, and the place that my active desktop is, many people ask me about, is set... one of my favorite places that's ever existed in Guild Wars 2 is the Burnisher Quarry. It's a mastery gate-locked place. There's only 2 ways to get to it. One is with Nuhawk Wallows at max. Well, just, you know, getting Wallows. And the other one is with ley line gliding. Either that or cheesing it with a Mesmer buddy of yours. I'm going to use the ley line gliding method. Heart of Thorns maps were gorgeous. Navigating them was a little confusing, though. I hate getting around TD. Yeah, a lot of people want... I'm always a bit... I've got to be honest. If there's any time I genuinely do high horse, it's when people say I don't like TD. Because I feel like you're just sort of... You're too used to the experience of exploration being very linear and not having to engage your brain. And like that's no exploration at all to me. I like getting lost in games. I like genuinely like having to learn the environment instead of learn a mini-map and stuff. I like that a lot. I think that's true exploration in video games. But... the sort of bar for it is a bit higher because that you open yourselves up to a lot more frustration. But good comes with the bad. And so I'm always a bit petty and dismissive about people when they're like, oh, Tangled Depth sucked. I'm just like, no, you just have a casual view to what exploration in game should be. I don't know. And I know that that's a high horse opinion to have. And I know that that would offend people, but it's the truth. You can actually get there with just lean gliding from tree to tree. Really? That's interesting. I mean, that's obviously not what they designed it to be. TD is bullshit for the first 100 hours of playing it, and after that it becomes a little easier. So there's a portal, but here, this is how the devs want you to get up. There you go. That ley line's really fiddly. So this is the Burnisher Quarry. I love this place. I genuinely love this place. I think it's so nice. Path of Fire, I want these kind of rocks. I want lots of these kinds of rocks all over the goddamn place. I want Vabby to look a bit like this, but, you know, a bit more vegetation and variation, obviously. We're not going to glide into it. We're going to walk through. So this is also the location of one of the story steps. The one where... Probably the best story step in Heart of Thorns. Does anyone want to contest me on that? The best story step in Heart of Thorns? The one where you're fleeing from Fouling? So you get to see all the cool... You know, just even the enemies in the area. You know, the way that you get to see the Nuhawk sleeping and the Itzel just chilling out and stuff. I really like it. The little POI and the chest that's under that waterfall there. Then you get to come into this side cavern. Hold on, I think I've got double HDR on and it's kind of ugly. There we go, let's turn it off. So we can come through it. I mean, this is always much nicer when you don't have a Zerg, so I'm going to try and get out ahead of everyone. But so, like, you see this guy just sitting down and chilling out, and he's just relaxing. So there's a choice here. You can go this way to a mastery point, which I'm sure most people have forgotten entirely about, but there is a mastery point here. And you can go down into that pit, and that takes you back out into the regular map. And it's also quite a pretty area. Okay, that's the mastery point. But then the really gorgeous area, the Burnisher Quarry, that I love so much, is over here. You can get here without wallows or ley line, but you need to go around half of the map. Well, Flaganti, someone else just explained that you can do it with just a little bit of glide. Like, look at this. Remember, so you're running from Foul Lane when you first explore this area. It's so gorgeous. I love what Reshade's doing here with a little bit of lens dirt as well on the setup. And then we can go this way. Come out to the top. This is the bit with the big epic glide in a second that we enact. So we've got all this here. I mean, just every little section of this map is just so layered and gorgeous and beautiful.
I'm fast as the wind.
And this is where I take my active desktop, except without a Zerg. And you get to see the sunrise here, and then it sets, and you get this beautiful skybox. You get the birds flying off into the distance with a bit of depth flare applied to them. And yeah, you do the big glide. What a great area. I love the Burnisher Quarry. What a great area. These maps are why Heart of Thorns was a smashing success for me. Despite the winging, I loved this. The whinging, I loved this expansion. For sure, man. All right, so then we got Tangled Depths. So what is a good descriptor of Tangled Depths? Our last look back at this. Where's a nice iconic place
I am dead.
that maybe we haven't thought about or gone to for a while? This stream feels like Heart of Thorns about to die. Yeah, I mean, the devs are going to delete it. That's what they said, right? They said Path of Fire's coming out. You either buy the next thing or you get fucked, mate. Peace out. What's the point in having gamers if they're not going to give you cash? So they're deleting it. They want that sweet, sweet P. It's now a subscription fee in order to have Heart of Thorns. Tangled is a very good descriptor. So here we've got this map. I always like the opening part of this map. And I always like doing the little glide thing on the edge of this route. It always feels so weird and like unnecessary and odd, but also the way that the devs want you to do it. Like there's all these updrafts basically in this, like, because what this feels like on this map, this little section we're in right now, it feels like a closed off, like on its own little pocket of existence of regular jungle in a map that's otherwise full of verticality. So this area here. And you got those updrafts there. And I honestly don't know the way that the devs want us to get onto those updrafts properly. The way I've always done it is coming along here. But this feels like so odd as like a method for getting up, right? And then jumping onto this. This is how I've always done it. I don't know whether there's actually a better method. But yeah, you know, and this is a good little, you know, encapsulated version of what this map represents. A gorge in the ground with roots zigzagging and crisscrossing over it. And if you weave your way down through those roots down there, you will find dark caves and abyssal pits and, you know, adventure. That's what Tangled Depths is all about, you know. And it kind of forces you to go down in some ways, unless you use the updrafts and you go to the top of that thing out at, what's it called? And there's like another flax farm up there, if you guys recall. There's the portal entrance to the map. Beautiful in its own way. So the first direction I ever came on this map was down here. and I fell through the waterfalls. This was truly like a mind-blowing, messy, tangled, disgusting, gross experience to learn. But I came down here. And so you got all of these different areas to explore. You remember that, like, all the vampire beasts that are hooked up in the ceiling, and oh gosh, just so much. So this is the Order of Whispers camp. Here's the ley line confluence all the way down at the bottom. So we just did all of this falling, and now we're down here. I'll explore that in a second. Let's just do each of the outposts, shall we? So Tiku Nuhok. So here is the location of one of the daily bosses we can fight. We could go kill it on stream now, guys. Ended up being really crap, to be honest. The daily boss thing, you don't kill them enough. You don't... I mean, people do the exalted guy, but only because it's at the end of AB. If he wasn't located there, people wouldn't do it. But certainly the one at Jaka Itzel, people very rarely do. Certainly this one, people very rarely do. Why? Because the only incentive for them really is collections, which exhaust themselves very quick because they're account bound. But I do like this little place. I do like their little town here, and I like wandering up. The meta itself I could take or leave in this area. What's his name? Pontoni the Ointment? Is that his name? The Ointment, really? Most of us on this map do spend our time entirely fighting the Gerent, really. But yeah, so we got all these new Hawk up here, and we can climb. No, it's Pontoni the Massive. Yeah, that's definitely who it is. So he's got some interesting abilities as well. He's actually quite a challenge, Pontoni. They're all quite a challenge. The Exalted dude is quite a challenge too. But if you try and solo him and he hits you with that laser beam thing, he's a goddamn dick. And if you get top DPS and you get targeted by that laser beam, when it's scaled up, you're basically dead unless you can LOS and then you pull him and stuff. So here, oh, he won't do it though because the meta needs to be finished. Yeah, so screw that. Anyway, so there's that. What else was there? There's that adventure where you glide from the top of here or whatever, and yeah, there's just so much content in these maps. There's just so much. A bit more incentive on adventures might have been better for Heart of Thorns, I don't know. But yeah, there it is. It's over there, Beetle Feast, right? That was a daily, like yesterday. So you come this way, and then you glide across or whatever is how I usually get to it. From up here. So this is New Hawk. Here we go. Don't know if this is how the devs want us to do it. I think it is, right? And this is a weird one because players can go through and clear the mobs and sort of make it easier for you. This is probably one of my least favorite or least understood adventures in all of Heart of Thorns. I think I just sort of haven't done it enough. There's only certain types of mushrooms you need to get, right? Oh my god. That blink's quite ridiculous. Oh my god, I love the dodge though. The beetle dodge is awesome. I didn't realize it had a little roll like that. Wow, and it's got like really good jumps and stuff as well. What? Is there a beetle tonic? Is there a tonic that lets me become one of these? If not, why not? Because they've got that cool roll on it and stuff. I've never really seen anyone in a tonic one of these. Is there, guys? In chat? So yeah, Heart of Thorns is still for sale. You can click the link below the stream. Blah, 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 blah. That's cute. That's so cool. Anyway, I'm not going to do this because... Whee! Oh, we're still alive. Oh, I feel like a little spider rolling around. Close. There we go. So yeah, that's that area. Ogre we did on a stream quite recently in the Great Tree and stuff, so I won't go there. But the Scar Bivouac and Rat and Novus I do really want to go to. So let's do it. Let's do it this way. Let's go up via Scar first. Because one of the biggest things, like, environmentally in Heart of Thorns for me is up at Scar. It's that giant pit you can jump down, which is what I intend to do now. Oh, there is totally. The Endless Beetle Tonic. It does exist. Yeah, we will go to the underwater caves. Don't worry, guys. We will. It's bought in VB. Oh, I might actually get that because I found that incredibly cute. That was very cool. This was one of my favorite adventures. One of the few I actually stuck around to improve on for the sake of improvement. I don't normally like them. Really? That one? Why that one? What was it that captured you about that adventure? That one to me always felt weird because whenever I went there, it was like other players would be in the area and it felt like my success or failure was too dependent on that. I think vaguely I felt that way. Hello, Derek Ads. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks very much for the sub to Shrugall as well. Thanks for all the support, generally speaking, guys. Thank you very much. We're moving out now. It's a bit sad, really. This will be the last sort of hype stream we get to do before POF. The culture around the streams and stuff is going to change very much. I would anticipate that a lot of you that are watching right now won't be watching after Path of Fire comes out because you'll play it a lot and you'll have your fill and then you'll be like, alright, I'm done. So, goodbye to all of you. I'm going to say goodbye to you all, just as I say goodbye to Heart of Thorns. It was nice to see you fair weather viewers, and it will be cool to have you watching again in another 2 years when the next expansion comes out. Look how tall these trees are. Ridiculous. So yeah, this is Scar. I like the sort of dinosaurs marching along in the distance. I'm going to stay, says Blue Sakon. Cynical WB. I like just bluntly saying, like, just like dark stuff or sad stuff. Potato Shrimpy, it's nice to see. I love this, right? I love when you see the dinosaur-y kind of, well, they're Mordrin, really, but they're marching along at a certain point in the meta. You get to see them all marching. I always loved realizing that we're this close to Metrica Province, and it feels so remote and distant and separate, and yet Metrica Province is right there, and they talk about that in the event, in the meta event dialogue. That was always fun. I quite like climbing as well, around on these helicopters and stuff here, and doing the event where you clamber around on those as they've been caught in the jungle roots and things, as Mordremoth's pulled them out, as we saw in that trailer. Then we have this pit, and I really like this pit. I don't know what it is, man, but this was super fun to me always. Even if you could glide, I'd never want to glide as I drop down this. Look at this thing. Yeah. And then we get to swim down. You've got the tunnels underwater as well. This was always a fascinating part of Tangled Depths to me. Always loved the underwater pits. Annoying when doing map completion, surely, because the mini-map's not good enough at demonstrating it to you. But, you know, I wonder how people would have taken to Tangled Depths if there was just no mini-map here at all. So people had to, like, visually learn it, and that you never had that frustrating experience of seeing a point of interest on the mini-map but not being able to get to it. You just had to learn it without the benefit of a mini-map. That would be so weird, right? I'm also doing a video like this. No, there's other videos I need to prioritize, like episode 6 stuff. You did love the imagery of TD. It was just how messed up it was to find any reasonable path. WP needs a talking potato for face rig as he streams. Vorio, if you make me a talking potato for face rig, I will do it. I've long said that to people. I will do that. So yeah, and then this is sort of an exalted assistance thing, which in the end wasn't a mastery that was very good. Path of Fire can actually still improve things with that. It can make exalted assistance actually something worthwhile. There's every bit of reason to suggest that maybe the Forgotten could have took some exalted with them into the Crystal Desert. Could have happened. We never saw that period of history. Exalted assistance could be worthwhile in the Ascension Chamber, Augury Rock, or any other place that we see that the Forgotten were doing things. Could be a thing for sure. But who knows? Who knows whether they will. There's the hidden JP place with the dancing Zins and stuff where you can break into the Dragon Lab from underwater. And then, of course, lastly, last but not least, there is Novus as well itself, which is currently contested, which is a bit annoying. So let's just swim up there, shall we? And there's the beautiful music at Ratanovus. You know, I talked a bit about the opportunity for Path of Fire to throw us some curveballs, and I very much believe in that. One example of Heart of Thorns curveball that I never gave you before was Ratanovus, you know. All of that stuff to do with Novus. It was new, and it wasn't really explained well in the game, and it felt weird. They were saying, the Legendary City, and we'd never heard of the Legendary City before. But, it's still a really cool location. It was a fun idea. It was a fun thing to go to. You know, that feeling that the jungle expansion essentially is giving us some of the depths of Tyria. I mean, I've always had the impression that the depths would be super low down, you know, like triple, quadruple the depth that we're currently at. So even further down, you know, truly abyssal dark pits, disconnected from the rest of the world. And Ratanovus is still sort of quite near the surface. But it was cool to get a taste of that, and we didn't need a taste of that, you know. Can you post your Guild of Two hook preset? I tried to approximate it, but playing side by side is apparent how different they are. Yeah, when I've done the mega packs and stuff, we'll look into doing that for sure. You really liked Heart of Thorns. You hope they improve these ideas in POF and add new ideas. Yeah, I think that so much of the response to Heart of Thorns has been so flippant. Like, in a lot of ways, I feel bad for the devs, because I don't see enough people anywhere on the internet giving really detailed, meaningful feedback about the product. I just don't. No one talks in good enough detail about all the components of these maps and all the things that were fun about them and all their experience. No one properly does it to a great enough extent. Like, I tried my best with my review series, but I view that review series genuinely. This is not an exaggeration or anything. I view that as maybe about as quarter of the detail as it could have or should have had. And I'm like one of the only people that's gone to that length. I know, so humble, right? I mean, there have been great reviews and things of Heart of Thorns, but none of them have gone into the depth that... And I feel kind of bad, really. Because the devs need to know, you know, where they did really well or bad. But anyway, so this was great. And that was Novus. So then lastly, we get to Dragon Stands. Which the meta isn't up, so I can't really show you much. Interesting idea for a map. Think would have worked really well in an expansion that had 10 or so maps. It wouldn't have felt like it was, you know, a problem or something. It would have just been seen as a part of the experience. I felt very bad when I first got to Dragon Stand because it was a moment where I realized, oh god, the expansion's content is exhausted now. It's all over. I'm not going to look forward to getting to the last Guild Wars Path of Fire map. But yeah, so Dragon Stand. I loved that whole thing of like only being able to get here if you killed the Garant, but the Garant was super hard originally. But people bypassed it by going through there anyway, and that was all a bit of a shame. But yeah, I mean, the iconic stuff with Dragon Stand really are at the end of Dragon Stand, aren't they? So I'm not really sure. I mean, what else is there that's super fun, like visually, to talk about and show?
Maybe we'll think twice.
There's not much, is there, really? This is a very different kind of map, this one. You want more Dragon Stand like maps in Path of Fire? Yeah, I mean, I think that it would be good for the game. I think that they are an interesting thing to pursue, but they have to be sandwiched between a lot of other stuff, you know. And maybe it would be fair, even if Path of Fire released with one map, and that one map was a Dragon Stand style map, right? Let's imagine that for a second. That's crazy, and it's obviously not going to happen, and it would be a bad idea. But there is an interesting argument to be made that even if they did that, Path of Fire only has one map, and it's a Dragon Stand style map. There's an interesting argument that's like, well, yeah, we just had 8 non-Dragon Stand style maps with the Living World. So it's okay if they do that because it's still sandwiched. Do you know what I mean? So, I mean, that's an interesting sort of extreme to take things to. Maybe we can get into the Blighting Towers. I don't remember what Heart of Thorns 2.0 did here to change things up. But we can go on up. The super graphic glitch that would lock you out of the map when you crashed at Mouth. Yeah, so the introduction of the 64-bit client. Remember, we didn't even properly have 64-bit support before Heart of Thorns came out. It was something that was spurred by, you know, this large meta here and what they were doing with that. Remember early grinding on Noxious Pods and how hard that originally was to get crystalline ore? To get your ingots and those early legendaries? Heart of Thorns is such a weird product because it feels so limited in so many ways, but also so huge in so many ways. It's really weird, you know? When you properly start looking at the nuts and bolts of Heart of Thorns, it's like, holy fuck, there's so much here. But then you think about, oh yeah, but they never released a generation of legendaries. There were only 2 guild halls. They didn't do this, they didn't do this, they didn't do this. Where's the dungeon support? All that kind of shit. It's just like, it's really weird. It's so bizarre to know that someone can genuinely 100% with 100% conviction say Heart of Thorns was tiny, and all the while see and understand and view and all of this. Yeah, so the Blighting Towers are closed. There was a way of breaking out of the map. We of course have the 4th path that never became a thing, and yeah, so there you go. That's Heart of Thorns. That's the HOT stuff. We've done more than enough streams showing off the guild halls, and of course we've got Desert Borderlands came at the same time. Actually, do you know what might be really fun? No, screw it. Maybe later we'll do it, but I was going to say we should do one match of Stronghold. One game of Stronghold. I don't think I've streamed a single game of Stronghold in 2 years. I don't think I've done it. So it'd be kind of cool to, like, do one. But anyway, we're not done, though, guys.
Peggy 12.
Let's go back here. And, now, of course, what we have is some other memories to go down. We had the introduction of raiding and stuff. So, don't have the trailer downloaded for the Forsaken Thicket, but I do have some stuff related to the Forsaken Thicket. So, not Spirit Vale, but here, let's watch, I don't know, this first. so we got that there. Hold on, let me turn off desktop audio. Sorry, guys. Jesus, that was huge, and I can't actually shrink it down somehow. There we go. Oh my god, why? Universe. Oh, it turned off. We've also got this. Hold on. So here's another one.
The white mantle were brought up really early on in concepting. We knew we wanted to do white mantle before we finished designing release 1 or even started on it, really.
The whole idea of bringing the white mantle back was a little terrifying, to be honest, because it's a big part of Guild Wars universe. We hadn't really dealt much with them since a long time ago in the first generation of games that we put out. So, you know, we had to be respectful and also a little delicate in terms of what we were trying to say. And even now, there's a lot of questions, I think, in fans' minds, like, where are we actually going with this?
You start to work toward the white mantle, and then you realize, oh my gosh, it's the white mantle, and then you have to go somewhere with that, right? And why not into a keep? They've been there for some 250 years. I'm sure that they've built something since then. So we wanted to take players into their headquarters.
My assumption is that a lot of people who got into the Guild Wars universe with Guild Wars 2 probably don't know that much about the White Mantle as antagonists. So a lot of what we're trying to do in the raids is to reintroduce them so that, you know, should we decide to explore that more, they have a basis. It started off with a very simple story that we had plenty of flexibility to kind of work within.
Guild Wars is very unique, and it needs unique play modes, so we couldn't just lump standard raiding into it.
We knew what we needed to do plot-wise, beat by beat, where we needed to end up, but we purposefully left a lot of room for interpretation so that we could allow the team to get crazy. And I think that probably shows. I think once people start playing the Keep construct, they'll realize that the whole concept is a little bananas. Jason, you know, who designed the encounter, he and I worked very closely, and he had some really great ideas for mechanics, and we tried to thematically tie them all together.
First concept came from when we were brainstorming the story and what were you doing? Who were the bosses? Like, what were the big scary things that we wanted players to come across? Ben Miller kind of tossed this crazy idea out, and it stuck with me. I decided that instead of it being the actual keep that's coming alive and hold towers and doors and bridges, instead it's just like some rubble and like pieces of statues. We can't really take an entire castle and turn it into this giant monstrous marionette. We have to make it more player-sized. Well, one of the upsides to that is it makes it a little bit more of like a standard boss fight. It's not so much like a prop boss where things are stationary and it's a lot more scripted.
It has a really cool look, and the interesting thing about that is it didn't originally look like that. So people probably, if they've been following the raid development, you know, they know we go through a lot of different stages where there's a lot of concepting and prototyping, and a lot of times the way that something starts off is not the way it ends up. The Keep construct started off as something a bit different.
We kind of went into the early process with, oh, we'll be fine. We've got assets. We've got Crichton assets. Like, that's what White Mantle used. We didn't really think about it.
The first prototypes that we were playing, I was like, so that's what we're fighting now, is it?
When we were building it out, we're like, man, this needs some flair. Like, this has to feel White Mantle. So we actually took a lot of time to redo some props, create some fresh stuff for the White Mantle, and to really make all the different areas pop.
When the topic was raised of, hey, you know what, that looks cool, but it's not really fitting in with kind of the theme and the story, they went back to the drawing board rather quickly and put together what the Keep construct looks like now, and it's really cool looking. I mean, I'm just really excited about it.
Seeing the actual art come online and the animations, and as those came online, I was more inspired to do different attacks that then became part of the fight, and it was just really interesting seeing it grow. Going from start to finish, I'm really happy with what we created. It's been a joy. It's been a lot of fun.
And well, so there you go. That was a bit longer than I was expecting it to be, but it's kind of cool to look back and see them talking about some of the earlier raid stuff. I mean, I say earlier, that was the currently penultimate release, right? That was not the most recent one. It was the one just before, and that's all we've had, right? So it is funny to see them talking about how much design goes into each individual encounter. Casey is a fun one, I think. I don't do much wing 3 these days. It's probably the wing I do the least of all. But Casey is a really on rails. It's a really weird encounter compared to a lot of others, because it's just like your margins for pushing the boundaries of success are very limited because the way the phasing works and stuff. But yeah, it's nice to see them talking about how they knew they wanted to do White Mantle and beat for beat and stuff. That's what I've got for you guys for the Forsaken Thicket. I very much enjoyed the Forsaken Thicket. And yeah, the introduction of raiding and so forth, I guess. We're doing a giveaway, basically, guys. So in chat, if you guys... We've got a lot of people watching right now. So not going to lie, your odds are a bit low, but who knows? We are doing a giveaway for a Spectral Greatsword skin. If you guys want that, all you have to do is follow the rules that are going to be in chat. It's about to start. All you have to do is type !enter, and you will be able to join. And that's as simple as it goes. That means I'm not going to be able to have chat to enjoy. So hopefully you guys have fun with that giveaway. If you want to say thanks in any way, Spud basically helps to offer all of those. Actually, that just reminded me, I've got something really awesome to do. I don't think this is one where you get more luck for subbing or anything like that. So it's just, you can just enter. Look at all you greedy bastards. Look at that. Shameless. Just taking a Spectral Greatsword that you put no effort into. How dare you? Look at all of you. Leeches on society. Disgusting. I think you should all feel ashamed. Look at that. I'm at work. My break is over. Have a good stream. No worries, Forskill. It's good to see you. Excellent stuff. And so, yeah, there you go. I just had a ton of follows for some reason. Thanks for the follows, guys. Following doesn't do anything, but thank you. That's really lovely. If you're just sort of sharing the love, if you're saying, hey, thanks for the giveaway, I'll give you a follow. That's really nice. Following is basically the equivalent of YouTube subscribing. It just tells you when I go live and stuff. But thank you. That's very cool. Or do you need to be followed in order to enter the thing? I don't really know. Royal says, I donated my reward to the Guild I'm Evil Kappa. Yeah, so we have something pretty cool as well. Just before we... well, I'll show you in a second. There is a really cool thing that I've got to show you in one of my mails, which I keep forgetting about. Next, though, let's talk a little bit about Living World Season 3. So, rating's very contemporary. It's all on our minds. It's, you know, it's not the most fun thing. It's not like we're saying goodbye to that or anything. However, let's have a little bit of a look instead at the way that the... content updates went after the content drought was over. So we did, of course, have very limited releases outside of raids for a long period of time, and there was PvP stuff in that space too, which alienated a lot of people, got people very upset. Those who refused to put the pedal to the metal and try and learn and make friends, no one who was interested in that, all the like super casuals hated that period of time. Finally, though, they started to get releases for them. They got the story came back. And that was really Living Wilds Season 3. So let's see how they advertised Episode 1 of Season 3. Right here.
Great warrior and friend. Goodbye here.
There's a hotbed of activity up north.
They will carry me all the way to the throne of Kryta.
That's quite interesting, actually. I didn't really recall. Did that come out with the Third Wing, then? Did they come out at the same time? Did Season 1 release right at the same time as the Third Wing? That's what's so weird to think about, that all 3 wings came out right before the season did. It's interesting to see how much they reused as well. They really didn't give us much in that trailer, did they? Not very much at all. But nonetheless, that was the start of the season. So how do we recall Bloodstone Fen, guys? How do we think about that? Let's go back in game now. And what I want to show you here is an item that we got given as well. Oh my god, this guy sent 60. Here, so check this out. P-Char 6 days ago said this. Dear WP, soon, I have been playing Guild Wars 2 for a year and almost as long without my friends who got me into playing it. As Halloween arrived last year, I leveled up to 80 playing Mad King's Labyrinth. I then continued with a personal story without breaks. Without my friends, I experienced true horror. Slowly, I fell deeper and deeper into the darkness known as achievements. I wanted it all, deeper and deeper. But suddenly, as I was falling through the darkness, I saw a light far off in the distance beneath me. Big Dick Videos and multifaceted streams. Without realizing it, I became surrounded by this light. The gift from above, this relic of the gods. I had been saved. Seriously though, enjoy your content a lot. Thank you. Would love to join the Spud Club too. At the opening of my previous mail was based in reality. We'll try my utmost to be very active as I find this community very lovable. So most people send like a handful of ectos. This 60 is actually pretty nice, right? But this is crazy. P-H-Char 6 days ago, and I saved this mail because I was like, I have to read this out on stream. Has sent us Dawn. So Dawn is now going to go into the guild storage, and we can use that as a Spud giveaway of some kind at some point. I already told the GMs about this, but we haven't decided where and when we'll be doing it. But yeah, holy shit. Thank you so much, PH-Char, for giving Dawn to the guild. And hopefully we make use of this. If you guys want a chance to win Dawn, well, the Spud Club 2 is open. It looks like I got a lot of mails here, but I think this only just really capped out at the start of the stream. The Spud Club 2 only has 250 members right now. Less than that. We're halfway full. So there's plenty of space for more people to join. We're building a big community full of new people to go into POF all together as an extra branch and extension of the Spud Club. So if you guys want to do that, you can join our Discord and you can be in for a chance to win this Dawn. Lots of fun events, all that kind of good stuff. Instructions are in Discord, which there's a link in chat right now. Nightbot just posted it. All you have to do is click for Discord, and there you go. So I wanted to show that off. Thanks so much, PH-Char. That is absolutely incredible, and I hope the community is really happy with that, and we'll get to use that in a good place. That's a friggin' very expensive precursor right there. No, it's EU and NA. Just because I speak with a British accent, it does not mean I run an EU-only guild. So yeah, back to episode 1. What do we think, guys? Episode 1 had Hableon in it. It had, in the early day, well, I don't know. It hasn't really changed that much. It's the only map that doesn't have hearts. It's quite a small map, but it has the big Bloodstone explosion. It had the reintroduction of Almora. It had Kanak talking about the foot key, his foot key, our foot key. This is the whole map with no fog. You can really see the size it is. You had this kind of jungly area down here. It had the recap NPC for the raiding recap, where we could go experience that cutscene and that stuff, which I will show you guys now. So let's come on down. All 3 of the Season 3... Oh, sorry, all 6 of the Season 3 maps remain. So yeah, we can come down here if you remember.
The Mersat preyed upon the weak and impressionable, who in turn worshipped them as gods. Calling themselves the White Mantle, these converts sacrificed innocents and toppled the Crichton monarchy. The chaos they inflicted on Tyria was short-lived. They were eventually crushed, and their scattered remnants went into hiding. But pockets of their fanatical followers have been operating in the shadows ever since.
So there you go. We had that lovely cutscene, which caught everyone up, even those who hadn't been playing the raids. The other thing that this map is very notable for is flying combat, basically. We got the Bloodstone abilities. We had those insane players that were asking for these to be available everywhere in Guild Wars 2. Can you imagine, like, how ridiculous is that as a suggestion? But yeah, we got to dodge in midair. Never really made much use of this in the end. They had the introduction of the Bloodstone empowerment thing. Magic warped packets and stuff were added to the game at this point, and gambling on those became a thing. Blood rubies, obviously, and those who have recently gone for Aurora will be more than familiar with how annoying those are to get. There was the hidden room up there, which, you know, was like a cut part of the map they never ended up putting in. This area looks really, like, gross, actually. It's funny. Very thick. And then, of course, we have the shadows after the ritual, where Balthazar, as we now know, started faking himself as Lazarus. It's interesting that these are like shadows burnt into the wall as well. I wonder if that's like a weird suggestion as to the fiery nature of Balthazar. And yeah, like the mine area. I don't know. I don't have too many memories of Bloodstone Fen. I remember like breaking out of the map. I mean, I've played a lot of it. The reuse of a raiding boss down at the bottom, and we thought that maybe every map would end up being a bit like that. Yeah. Reintroduction of white mantle mobs, and they had Guild Wars 1 skill references like Splinter Weapon. Yeah. Yes, the bottom of the Bloodstone was worthless, pointless, wasted space in the map. All of this down here, well no, one of the metas, the most important metas of the map takes place down here, so I don't know whether that's true. Also, we get story down here. So yeah.
We are introducing our players to Ember Bay, one of the new land masses that have kind of come up and changed over the last 250 years.
So Ember Bay is a pretty different map, just hostile, burning wasteland of rock.
I actually worked on the same level about 12 years ago in Guild Wars 1. So I got to give it the new treatment with all our cool new props and effects.
It's a pretty cool map because the first time in quite a while we've been back to a seaside environment. And also this map is really metal.
I made a skull, I made a horn, kind of weird scraggly jaw that didn't quite look like a jaw, but like it just needed to look like it was something. And then kind of went back and just saw what Josh had done with it. He was just like, created different types of skulls with different kinds of horns, and then he did something super awesome. He created what I like to call the Well of Souls.
You just go up into this like caldera and there's just this mountain of like leering demonic skulls just like looking down at you. This place is like to the cover of some really insane Tyrian heavy metal album. It's really over the top and really fun in that way.
So the skull theme is really cool, right up my alley, because I'm a big fan of heavy metal and that kind of stuff, so I really got off on doing as metal a version of that map as possible. So lots of skulls, just weeping lava and smoke and brimstone, all that kind of fun thematic dark broodiness.
One of our biggest challenges was trying to create a mastery for this whole area that you know, felt fun and unique for Fire Island, but you know, that necessarily other areas with lava may not have.
We have, I think, most of the previous movement-based masteries. There's jump mushrooms, updrafts, there's a big ley line roller coaster, as well as a new mastery that we're calling thermal tubes, which basically shoot you out of a lava cannon to hundreds of yards away. It's really fun, you catch fire, it's great.
We wanted this map to be a little more exploration-based, and so that hearts seemed like a good way to do that. And the hearts this time are repeatable to give people, you know, so that you're not sort of one and done. You can find, and there's a bunch of different ways to complete each heart, so you might, you know, try different things on different days.
Because we're in an ocean environment, it was fun to bring back some creatures that haven't seen a lot of play in a while. So notably, in part of the map, the Karka have sort of taken up residence. And we know some players really, really appreciate fighting the Karka. So it was cool to be able to have like a really different environment from South Sun to be able to let them inhabit and wander around in.
We usually put the jumping puzzles in last, so I kind of had this spot reserved for it. And I started building it, and contrary to popular belief, I actually don't like making difficult jumping puzzles, but the aesthetic really demanded a just brutal jumping puzzle. So there's several vectors along which we can make a jumping puzzle challenging. The obvious one is the distance, you know, how far you got to jump, how difficult those jumps are. But then in additional to that, it's discovery. It's finding where do I actually jump. And then on top of that, you can have the skills that you have to use, the enemies that may be around and all that kind of stuff. So we really cranked up the sliders on almost all of those. So it ended up earning its name of Chalice of Tears.
The island and just trying to come up with creative gameplay spaces and an environment where everything is trying to kill you was a fun challenge to work with.
Oh yeah, so there you go. I haven't watched that in a long time. That's really interesting now looking at that, especially after obviously we return to the Fire Island chain later. So yeah, that's episode 2. Really weird to look back at, though. We were immediately the Fire Island chain just on episode 2. I remember the excitement of all of this very clearly. I mean, this wasn't too long ago, honestly. What we're actually looking at now, guys, you know, the early Heart of Thorns stuff I was showing just a few minutes ago, that was those are much more distant memories than what we're now talking about. What we're now talking about was not that long ago, you know, less than 12 months ago, right? The last year for Guild Wars 2 has been truly insane. Like, all this you're looking at, it's all, like, super recent, and all this hype for the expansion and stuff, which is about to release in just a couple of days, it's quite extreme. So this is all pretty fresh in my mind. But yeah, thermal tubes, I think we're all more than familiar with at this point. It took me a long time to realize why that you went in one, buried through the ground, and then rocketed out of the other. I didn't quite realize that was what was going on for the longest time. But that's us over there right now, and then we move. And then, yeah, you get the ley line roller coasters and stuff. So, yeah, this was an interesting patch in that they managed to put an item in. Oh, that failed for some reason. This was an interesting patch in that they managed to put an item in the game that we never knew was there until way later. That was the Auric's Royal Signet Ring and the stone and stuff. It was perfectly available, regular stuff in Guild Wars 2 that just no one had properly figured out. And I like the thought that lots of patches could be adding stuff like that. And because it doesn't appear on the APIs until it's been discovered, it's pretty fun. Do you know why the sun flare in Ember Bay is super big? It is on my game as well. Yeah, I think it's an effect that's on this map, but isn't really on any of the others. So in terms of events and stuff, I don't think this map did too well. The worm, in the end, wasn't what I think a lot of people were hoping for. But what particular memories do you guys have? This was where we got introduced to the script stashes. Someone asked me if I enjoyed the script more because of this patch. I did enjoy the implementation of the script in this patch, in the end. I guess my hopes for what this was a bit boring, honestly, in the end. But the way I thought I wanted this map to be could have been really uninteresting, ultimately. And I could have just asked for something really gritty and shit and unfun. But, you know, having these fun little stranded script here like this that we come over to. The lava looks really awful. I wonder if my graphics are actually set up properly at the moment. It looks like it is. Like, this is really cool. I like this, you know. He's, like, really scared, and then we hold him, and we're like, yeah, we need a sprint. And then we get to run along and keep him safe and bring him to the other bank. I don't know. I like it. I love what they did here as well with the room that you can't enter until you finish story. I want to see Path of Fire do a lot more of this. I think this is such a cool tool.
Stay back. You stay.
So I can get in, but lots of other players are getting kicked away because they haven't done the story. We got the dwarf, of course, and a mention of Ogden. That was all fun stuff. And, of course, the Chalice of Tears. Everyone's been talking about it in chat, and I've got to go to it, of course. We won't complete it, but it is a glorious-looking place. Like, just visually, it's so dense. There's so much going on, so many effects, and it's so hellish and beautiful. Yeah, we saw the dinosaurs return. Do you remember? It was a legitimate excitement to see the dinosaurs come back. It had been that long, right, by the time this patch came out. So you can see the obsidian and the purple sort of style around the stronghold here, which is really striking, actually. Looks really good. The Masart tokens I loved on this this map. The amount of, like, really crazy, interesting places you could go on your hunt for the tokens was very fun. I would recommend anyone who hasn't done it yet and is looking for some meaningful playtime before Path of Fire comes out. I mean, I've made a billion recommendations to you guys over these most recent streams, but that's another one. I would say go do the tokens, not just for this map, but do it any equivalent that they've done. So I loved everything about the Chalice of Tears. Again, it was very recently, it feels like I was talking about this. But, you know, the weird, obscure, like, entrance to the place. It's actually up there, isn't it? I messed this up already. Maybe we can get in anyway. I'm too low. I've messed up. Maybe we can get in. We fly in under here and then hit the rock here. Oh, no, and then we fell. Rip. Let's try that again. There's not going to be a waypoint anywhere close. Why am I alive? Kill me. Oh, this is going to take ages. I like how many other players fail. You guys follow me. Listen, you should learn something. Never follow wooden potatoes. Ever. Hold on. This guy's quite high up. Jasmine Loudpur. Jasmine Loudpur. Don't you dare fall. Jasmine Loudpur. Oh. I can only select a few people. All right, let's go this way then and see what we got. Oh, where is this person? Okay, I guess I just spent a teleport to a friend instead of a waypoint. What a waste. All right, let's try that again. We will get into the chalice. I went the wrong way. I went too low. Hi, I can't stay for the stream, but I sent you a POF Tato Cam if you check your Discord. Oh, that's so cool. Thank you very much. Oh, well, we can't show that on today's stream, but on when the start of the Path of Fire ones, and on Saturday, when the Spud Club 2 is claiming the Vabian Hall, that'll be a lot of fun. So yeah, and remember, if you guys are in Spud Club 2, or you're about to send a thing, do remember to be there on Saturday. The Saturday coming up, my regular stream time, that's when we're capturing the new hall, okay? So please do be there. It would be very unfortunate for people to join the hall. The whole point of the new guild is to build that up, and it would suck if people aren't there. So yeah, do remember that. What if we can't be there because of work? Skive off. Why aren't you skiving off anyway? You've got... I like how I say skive, like it's some flippant school thing, you know, like, oh god. It's like I'm still an irresponsible 14-year-old boy. Obviously, don't take the day off. You could try and actually get a genuine day off. Or why haven't you booked that since a long time ago already, you know? That's what I would have done, booked a holiday. I remember doing that for multiple Halo launches. So we'll go up this way. I have a feeling that running Plague Signet would be an awful move here, because I just take all of this fire. So there we go, we got the checkpoint. And yeah, the Chalice of Tears. I mean, what a JP, like, genuinely. I mean, we're in Shroud right now, so I'm going to die probably. Yeah, 60 burn. But truly crazy. Love the environment. I think that, you know, it got a lot of heat when it came out. It got a lot of flack from people. In that it was too hard, it was too fiddly, it was too slippery and stuff. But, you know, I think that now the dust is settled, I think the game is better off for having an extreme puzzle of that kind of nature in it, you know. Even if it doesn't satisfy everyone, and everyone's looking to be permanently satisfied when a patch like that comes out, now that the dust is settled, it's like, there you go, Guild Wars 2's got that in it now, and you know what, it's a better game for it. And I do stand by that. I think that's really nice. So yeah, the token thing I wanted to just quickly show you all. Yeah, so we had the big lens flare on the sun, which is now set. The moon looks really weird with Guild Wars 2 hook there. Really weird. But like, just so that you guys know, if you've not done it, right, here's a good example. I think, hopefully I know, hopefully I can figure this out. We go into the waters here. Oh, no fog. This looks crazy. And then, how do we do it? Freaking sharks, man. 4 sharks? Is that 4 or is it 3? I think it's over here. And some of them are so well hidden, right? That it's like, you gotta like, is this it? Look at this. Look at this. You ready? You swim into this. All right, the lighting changes. Yeah, look at how obscure and crazy this is. I've never streamed this or shown this. And you come through here, all right? And look at how long this tunnel goes. Look at the kind of places you go. This is just one of like 60 tokens, okay? And I have no incentive to ever come back here because it's an achievement, it's a compound. But we swim all the way along under here, like in these crazy areas of the map. This is not out of bounds. This is not like some dev glitch or something. This is a specific special tunnel that you have to swim through to get one of the tokens. And it's like, maybe we still got to keep going. The thing is, I'm not going to know when I'm at the end because I'm not going to see the token. But look at where we've come. We're under the volcano right now. Yeah, here you go. And it's in this little chamber deep underneath this volcano, which you can only enter from a tunnel down there, right? That's the kind of cool stuff there is. It's all over the map, stuff like that. Did I find out? I did find this on my own. I did every single part of this achievement on my own. The only one that I used a guide for is the most recent one in Draconis Mons. Because the friends I was playing with were using a guide, so I just ended up following them. But yeah. So there you go. That's Ember Bay. That was episode 2.
We are introducing our...
fire dragon is rising.
Something up ahead, boy?
So this is Jormag's idea of paradise.
2 dragons at once.
We must kill them all before any one grows too powerful.
Run toward your death.
So the absolute height of Season 3 for me. This map, this experience, everything that came with this patch in general is great. I loved the balance on this patch. I loved the new map on this patch. The story was actually quite weak. What does that say about me? That my favorite Season 3 episode didn't even have a good story on it. So there were problems with this patch, and clearly the balance of berries and stuff was a bit off. But the amount of game time I got, the amount of excitement I got from the game time, especially the new fractal being added with it, this, to me, was where Season 3 peaked. And that's not to say there wasn't better stuff afterwards, but just personally, just where my headspace was, the kind of things I was doing in my life at the time, the amount of time I had to dedicate to Guild Wars 2, how invested I got into the various rewards. This was the good shit. I loved this patch. I had maybe 3 solid days of real, genuine, like, thrill and excitement and joy playing and doing all the hearts. So someone mentioned, yeah, episode 2 had the hearts came back. That was a big part, and obviously we saw they went further with it here. This was the introduction of the Kodan tonic that they put into this. We heard the Breachmaker music and stuff in the trailer because obviously the Nightmare Fractal came in. The Nightmare Fractal was really good. I mean, that memory of making that video saying this is what Guild Wars 2's endgame's like now is very fresh in my mind. You know, this was all very recent to me. But yeah, beautiful map. The sandstorms, the blizzards, sorry, were great. I loved little things like being able to press F and melt the ice over here, yeah, and get the little thing. I like being able to bounce up and go into these trees. This forest was a smash success. I've never seen an environment be so warmly received by the community than this. Looks a bit weird on my client right now because no fog, but you get what I mean. You like the map. You like every single map since Heart of Thorns. Just a brilliant map. I don't know, really, there's not too much more to say about this one. What happened in the story, I guess. So this is the patch with the single instance that managed to single-handedly make everyone hate Bram. Not everyone, but a huge amount of people. And detest, actually, some of the storytelling. Even though Bram was only on screen for maybe, like, 15 minutes. So here, this looks totally broken. I've never actually been to the like the Vista thing. They did an interesting thing in the gem store on this where you could buy a Vista, like a special area or whatever. But yeah, we had the introduction of the Skrit in the last patch. The Quaggan were in this one. And again, looking at it broadly now, I think it was probably a right move to include those 2 races and have them at various junctures in this season. I don't know, what else? What do you guys think? What was your takeaway from this? Episode 3. I mean, really, to me, it was the bee's knees. It was the best. The best. Swig of Karma. Why do I have a Swig of Karma? 4,500 as well. That's a lot. Your reshade's making this map ugly. Yeah, I agree. I agree. This map doesn't look very good with the reshade. Best map visually. Best map, worst story. What about just the patch in general? Oh, yeah, the hot springs. Yeah, good point. The hot springs. Hot springs were gorgeous as well and excellent. Let's go over there. Story writers died here? What do you mean they died here? Nice enough map. I despise the Kodan, though, so that marred it. Really? Why do you despise the Kodan? What do you despise about it? Do you despise them for, like, their story reasons? Or do you despise them as a construct in a video game? Which one is it? Because despising them for their story reasons shouldn't mar it. I mean, I think this looks great right now, actually. I like how gritty the snow and the rocks and the walls look. Yeah, and we had all the Jotun runestones. We had the precursor gambling system. Do you guys remember that? That was, like, associated with Black Lion chests at the time. and you could speak to a Jotun. You know, that Jotun really feels like, you know, like Pokemon games have weird features in them, and there's random NPCs that are about features and hardware that you could attach to your Game Boys and stuff that doesn't mean anything anymore. I sort of think of that as sort of a Guild Wars equivalent of that now. That's a weird NPC to look back on now. But yeah, the hot springs here. Looks really beautiful once the events are running and the post-processing kicks in and stuff. Very, very nice. And you had the cool jumping puzzle that you could do with these rope bridges and stuff. You could travel around on. Build the elixir. Yeah, I really did like the hot springs. You still have 2 frozen things in your bank. You're waiting on a 3rd. For how smug and self-righteous they were in the Frostgorge Sound events, but the fact that they rouse anger in people, I guess, is a sign of something positive. Yeah, that's what I was trying to dig at, yeah. I didn't understand why they implemented no way to receive these items in-game at such a waste. Well, they did. You got a couple from finishing the story or something, I think. Which looks a bit tacky now, actually, when you look back, because that was clearly just there to make people buy chests, but then they went away from the chest. Yeah, it is a weird one. It is. I wonder whether they should... I mean, this is why I say it would be nice to just have, like, a single release that updates all of these maps and, like, just adds things to the maps and fills in holes where there were some and just hammers stuff out. Puts hearts, for example, into Bloodstone Fen, which is missing them. But yeah, you know, I really think that this Season 3 had got on a real roll at the point of this coming out, and great patch. Best memories of the whole season, I think. This one right here. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. You haven't been able to hear the game the whole time I've been playing on this one. Jesus. What am I most excited about in Path of Fire? I don't know, really. I'm excited about a lot of stuff. Story and just generally exploring the new maps. It's a boring answer, but that's sort of what it is. Just the fact that it's an expansion upon the game that I love, I think, is really what it comes down to for me. I wouldn't say that mounts, for example, are the thing that I've been erect about for years and desperate to have, and now I'm, like, creaming myself. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that, any of the new elite specializations I've, like, been dying to have, and now I'm, like, buzzing and pissing myself in my chair to have just because Ellie gets a sword. I wouldn't say that any of those are true. I'm just generally excited about expansion and change and fun new stuff. Is it weird that I'm more hyped for Season 4 than for Path of Fire? A little bit, yeah, I would say, probably. The budget and the kind of things they can do with an expansion is much greater than Living World. Anyway, so yeah, I don't think anyone really has too much more to say about Episode 3. So let's move on to Episode 4, shall we?
For years, we've had a fester inside the kingdom. A creeping undertow that sucked some of our friends and family into its darkness.
This is a moment in life where you will look back one day and say, I made a stand, or I did nothing.
As we are poised to be smashed between 2 rising elder dragons, we cannot stand for a threat from within.
I was honored when Caudicus tapped me for the job of regicide, and I will see it to its bloody end.
We will rout this serpent out of our home. Kryta will not be broken. Divinity's reach will not fall.
So someone just described this as Episode 4, the best story but the worst map, and I kind of agree with that. It's like the reverse of the patch that came before it, the Crack in the Ice, and I find that really quite funny actually, because I agree. It had a very good story. It had all that amazing stuff going on. So let's go visit it in game. There's some quag and narrowing away in the background right now that are proper throwing me off. So I think that in terms of like being hyped for a patch, this one I was most hyped for than any other. I remember being really hyped about this coming out. I remember being really hyped about the entrance to the city. I remember being really hyped about seeing the sewers and stuff when there was that. But the pre-release hype, I remember everyone waiting around in Queensdale. Do you guys remember this? I remember watching a Peachy stream where everyone was like on this raft or whatever. I remember the current event. By the way, we haven't talked about current events at all, but there were current events and stuff going on. And the map itself, I think, is quite cool. I like my favorite thing about this map is that experience of knowing where the water level once was and what it probably looked like before it all sunk away. And I remember thinking at the time it would have been really cool if they gave us in the story like a flashback version of the map or whatever while the water was still here, which I think would have been really amazing. But yeah, I don't know. I like this map. I think that the story was amazing because it had all those things. Like it had branches based on what you'd done before. Have you done the dungeon before or not? What race are you? What profession are you? You know, you could tame the pet if you're a ranger or whatever or not. It used the Cordicus puzzle room. It made good use of Beetleton Manor. It had like interesting achievements. It gave us that special action hotkey thing, the mini game with the golem that we'd be doing. There was a lot of great stuff. Up at the top, you had like kind of that sad thing with Nolan and the harvest cascades and the survival puzzle adventure thing that you had down here. Of course, it was the first and only map to have added a renewable farm of any kind that was sort of group-based. We had berry farming before, but this one, you know, the leather farm. Even we had an interesting AFK farm that was short-lived, but I think has added something to the surface of Guild Wars 2 for having existed and now being a part of its history. A ton of achievements on this one as well. There were a huge number of achievements. In fact, there's still 2 hidden achievements I don't have on this, funnily enough, even though I've got everything else. I know it's some Guild Wars 2 efficiency. I got to dance with someone somewhere, and I've got to do something else. Something weird. Fort Ivinia as well, reference to Ivinia I remember being very excited about. You had this beautiful area here. I love everything about Lakeside Bazaar. This added the mini combat tonic, which was also excellent. I think this patch implemented the Watch Night, Everlasting Watch Night tonic. They got that in immediately after. Bitterfrost Frontier came out. They heard the community say, hey, let's get that, and then we did for the Watch Night tonic. So you can run around as a Watch Night, and indeed I remember doing that when this patch came out. But yeah, I love the assets. They've got all these buildings here, especially at night with the windows lit up. And then out the back as well, you have, I mean, you got the little town hall. I regret that as good as the story was, it never made use of this village well enough, I think, which is a bit of a shame. You know, this town hall and stuff, that would have been nice. But then you've also got, when you go left along here, not interested in doing the thing with the temple priests, but down here, oh, no, where's the way? There's some direction I can go in. Jesus. He's portaling and White Mantle. Also, you know, we got the White Mantle story in full force. Yeah, I don't know. I really like this one. Is it this way? Was this the route? Okay, cool. Yeah, here we go. We got this place. Got the hidden thing with the ghost and the torches. The hearts started getting quite interesting. We had a return to the Claypool style stuff. We had the stealthy thing at Fort Ovidia. Letters from E. Yeah, Cossage. Good, good. Definitely. I think that was a good part. They did break the game. This added Downstate 5. That's true. Downstate 5 is now a thing. So this is a really weird, really specific patch where it's like, Jesus, players that have this patch versus players that don't have a very profound difference in capability of what they can do. Like, it's really weird. Like, playing, like, because it's so powerful, the Downstate 5, especially if you're on, like, a Guardian and stuff, it's really, really funny, actually, to look at. I wonder if they'll add another method of acquisition for it. Or just forever ask people to spend 400 gems to get such an incredibly potent combat capability. They didn't put it in raids, sure, or the PvP formats, but it's still there in fractals and dungeons and open world and a story and stuff. And all of those, it's very strong. Yeah, it's incredibly good for Ellie as well. Anything that drops lots of rolling AoEs, power necros benefit massively from it as well if they've got wells and shit down and then they go down. In fact, just the auto on any kind of necro is incredibly strong. You feel like this map wasn't so bad at the end? Yeah, and they had all these fun little details here with the guy, like this guy you could feed. This was the last Heart of Thorns achievement I needed, except for those hidden ones I just mentioned. You had the cool, like, bubble protecting Divinity's Reach back there. Did they add any new varieties of mobs and stuff? I can't really quite remember. You know, there's a lot of detail here, though. Oh, man, can you imagine being just a player just coming back to Guild Wars 2 now and getting all of Season 3 to play through? There's so much. Why do I feel like people are so lukewarm about this stuff? Because it's so cool. I don't know. I think it's just the way that they structure their content. Because players, if everyone that played Guild Wars 2 went for the full metas and really squeezed the detail and stuff out of these maps as new players, they'd love it. But I feel like new players don't do that. I feel like they probably just zerg in, do the story, and zerg out. And they get so little from the maps. They get so little experience. I don't know. It's just me. That's what I did. I quit before Heart of Thorns, came back to do Heart of Thorns in Season 3, and it's been a ton of stuff. So did you go for the metas as well? Each patch is meta. Meta achievement, that is. Not meta events, meta achievement. You really like the Ghostly Priest of Melandru and the hidden achievement? Yeah. Some players don't care about the story, which is baffling. No, I think that there's certain kinds of stories you might not like, and I wouldn't blame someone for not liking this kind of story. Do you have any soap on you, stranger? Do you have any soap on you, stranger? I don't wash my hat. I don't usually wash up on battlefields. Why? I lost a trinket behind the gate back there, and I need to squeeze in to get back. Some soap might help me slip in.
Let's play a game.
So yeah, I love that. Is that a hint at what we got in One Path Ends? Who knows? So okay, that's Head of the Snake, Lake Doric. Good fun patch, Seraph gear. We saw the introduction of a new stat set for the rewards from the hearts.
Lazarus's aspects. Without it, they could have never resurrected Lazarus. The real Lazarus.
Mortal danger. A Mersat / not a Mersat on the way.
He's on the way? What should we do?
He's trapped us here.
Lies, the willingness to kill to get what he wants.
No, it can't be. The charade ends here.
So there we go. Next map we have Flashpoint, which is essentially, as far as we may understand now, supposed to be the finale. And kind of really wound all the story up. This is where Balthazar is revealed to us. This is where we return to the Fire Island chain. And we get a very interesting map, the inside of a volcano. So here we are. And again, this one looks very different without fog. And I apologize for that, it's going to look a bit weird. This character's actually never explored it either, so we're not really going to have a very good look at it. But, I mean, this is super recent stuff, guys. This was a matter of months ago. I mean, really, this was just a matter of months ago. But, yeah, so we get Flashpoint. We get Draconis Mons. We get to go inside the volcano. We had that cool submarine. We have the new type of water here and the boiling sea. We have the meta event with the destroyers to fight. There were a ton of achievements on this one as well. Lots of stuff hidden all over the inside of the volcano. I mean, just an incredible amount of work will have gone. It's amazing to see all of the work that everyone did at that company over that year, right? This was my favorite map and story combined, says Dark Hadia. Do you guys agree with that? What do you think? And we've got, like, you know, all this verticality. That is playable terrain up there, for example. There is the jumping puzzle, the Searing Ascent this time, which is more of a sort of resource management puzzle, if you will. And a bit like the Silver Waste puzzle in that it's a question of where do we go rather than does this jump work or not. Sort of, it's broad strokes figuring out where to go. You love seeing Primordus. Yeah, so we got to see an Elder Dragon in this patch. Winnie Potatoes, I love you. Do you think we'll have a Canthan expansion after POF? Great to see you streaming. Maybe. Thank you very much for the lovely comment there. I don't know. I hope so. One day. It'd be nice. A thinking living world that takes place in Cantha is a very exciting prospect to me. So yeah, then we got... This is a cool event. We had the Oak Hearts. We have information about Zin for the first time since Heart of Thorns closed down. The Mastery, of course, as you can see everyone's using here. You get to become Spider-Man and zap all over the place. Didn't really talk about the Mastery of Cracking the Ice, which wasn't used too much. But yeah, so you get to latch onto walls and rocket yourself around. I spent a lot of time here recently because of the Aurora collection. We have the Druid backpack that we could build a bit like Mordry. This is Season 3's version of Mordry. Mox returns, MOX returns, is unlockable in the home instance, can play music to you. There was also another enormous balance patch on this one that was very good. I like the balance here, and I like the balance on one path ends. All the balance as the season's got towards its conclusion has been better and better and better, in my opinion. Do you think we'll be seeing more Zephyrite in PF? Potentially, yep. Not really relevant for this episode and this patch here, though, isn't it? I don't know, would have liked to see more Prime Orders. Should have given us idea just how large the Elders are. It did give us an idea how large the Elders are. What are you talking about? We saw a giant fuck-off enormous heads of some titanic creature submerged in the lava. That didn't give you an idea of how big he is? Of course that gave you an idea of how big he is. What? Check donations. Oh, we had a donation. Thank you. By the way, I sound so aggressive lately. I didn't mean to sound so rude there. I think I probably sounded way too rude to the person in chat. But we totally got an idea of what he sounds like, of his size, didn't we? Giant fuck-off enormous head, yeah. Sorry, that's a bit of a British description there. We had a donation from Char Butt. Thank you, Char Butt. Who donated £7. Thank you very much. Thank you for all the content and everything that is Spud. I mostly hung out and managed the EU raid section of Spud, and I've got to meet so many great and friendly faces of this community. Thank you. That's lovely of you. Thanks so much. I'm glad you're in Spud and have been having fun. Yeah, if you guys want to get into raiding as well, Spud's a great way to do that. So just so that everyone knows, we're building a guild for when this expansion comes out, and we're trying to get to max members. We're halfway done, and the expansion releases in 4 days. So if you guys want to join a guild, if you don't have any existing friends or family or community, please feel free to join our Discord and come have fun with us all. Instructions on how to join are right there. You don't need to download anything. You don't need an account. You don't need any of that. Just click that link and go from there. Why you have to be mad? It's only a game. I know. I'm not actually mad. I'm just, I don't know. I've developed a way about me, which has been nurtured by Twitch, saying lol when I get overly aggressive about stuff, and I don't like it very much. To be fair, though, the scale of that story instance with Prime Modest might not be the scale with Tyria. Yeah, so Shaman did some interesting mining and stuff, and like, or map making, showing off assets and how big stuff would be, and it's like Prime Modest is like way bigger than like even Divinity's Reach and stuff, which I think's cool, but yeah. We created a monster. Yes, I think you did. I don't know. It's easier to blame other people than myself, right? But yeah, so Draconis Mons, the Dead Largos is on this map, which was a really nice little thing. We also know that in POF via data mining that there is some Largos like gear style stuff coming in the expansion. So are the Largos returning for POF? When do you think we'll get a new raid? Probably shortly after the expansion comes out. So yeah, I'm not sure what else there is to really say. Draconis Mons, what do we think then? And of course, after Flashpoint in Draconis Mons was the most recent trailer, which I don't even know if I've actually got downloaded. It is that recent, so I might not even be able to watch it with you guys. Hold on, let's see here. Resources, trailers, Season 3... No, I don't have it. So hold on. We're going to go on a long glide here while I download it. Let's see. It's nice to see that online on the Guild Wars 2's YouTube, their trailers are getting steadily more and more viewers. It's a suggestion that the community is growing, that the game's getting bigger. They're at 150k on the One Path Ends thing already. Or 130k. Alright, just downloading it now, guys. We will finish this. I know I'm about to glide into a wall. I'm currently alt-tabbed looking at Firefox. Just download that. And then I'll drag and drop it. A few seconds left. Boom. Grabbed it. Close that down. Alright, here we go. So the last trailer. One Path Ends.
Your divine lord is threatening all of Tyria. If another dragon dies, we all die.
At a time when elder dragons endanger the whole world, Kryta must make uncommon allies.
undead hinder the flow of energy. We must feed them to the lava, to his fires. The time has come. You ready to fulfill a prophecy? Go! Save the world. Save Tyria.
And so there you go. Yeah, they used the Heart of Thorns music to cap it all out, you know, to bring us full circle, remind us of where we came from. And yeah, we get this episode that just came out with Ore and all of this good stuff. And Siren's Landing. We get the epic new JP here, which is sort of a classic JP, but, you know, the anti-ups, you know, times 1,000. We get a return to the Sylvari and many of these sort of Sylvari influences that were there at the start of Heart of Thorns, right at the end. We have the new information about the Sirens, an interesting mastery, but nonetheless only affects this map, so it's a bit weird. In fact, the entire mastery system across Season 3, I think, was really weirdly handled, because it's not really very good horizontal progression, is it, if it only affects a single map? And then some of them randomly affect lots of stuff, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, and we get all the shrines, we get sort of a new waypointing kind of system. And I think this is all very fresh, so I'm not even sure, really. You know, a lot of the stuff I've said on this stream, I can sort of... You know, we can talk in very broad levels about our main takeaways looking back, but I'm not really looking back at this patch right now. I'm in the middle of playing this patch. This patch just came out, you know. And I've barely had time to fully get to grips with it, or get everything from it. I'm just about to get my last item from it, which I need Karma for. Right as the expansion comes out 4 days from now. But yeah, this is sort of where Heart of Thorns leaves us off in Siren's Landing and Ore. And how do we feel about this one, guys? So this was the most fun jumping puzzle in the entire game, hands down. So yeah, the story here, the return of Livia, the Scepter of Ore is mentioned, of course. We get to go to Abaddon's Reliquary, but not get any secrets, sadly. Yeah. Pearls are the currency. We get the daily thing where we do all of the gods, and then we get to go gamble for some more pearls. What was the was there a tonic on this map? Can't remember. The previous map had the big tonic, the enlarging tonic. This one, of course, added Aurora. Another great balance patch with this one, I will say. Great world versus world changes are coming by this time. It's around now that world versus world suddenly got really good with the territory system and the new rewards and stuff, and a legendary for world versus world. Current events had fallen sort of off at this point, sadly. Overall 8 out of 10 for map and story. This story felt like a side story. Yeah, it probably was.
I wonder what's here.
I wonder what's here. I hear that so rarely. And yeah, so this was the end of the season, which we just had. Lots of great subject material and good places to go to. I just want to say thanks for all your hard work. That's why I brought the expansion with your link. Oh, that's so lovely, Rugged Shell. Thank you very much. I will just say, I don't often do this, but to everyone watching today, for a lot of us that do content on Guild Wars, we sort of get to make hay while the sun is shining, which comes around once every 2 years with an expansion. And then it sort of goes back to nothingness. So we're about to... that's all about to end, basically. When the expansion comes out, it's sort of, you know, everyone's just going to play it and then it will be done. So in terms of those buy links and stuff, I haven't talked about them for ages. But if at any point over the next week you decide you do want to pick up the expansion, or a friend of yours does or something like that, do think of the content creators out there and do give him one last hurrah, because... unfortunately, this is sort of it, really. Yeah, do remember them there. Everybody likes to talk about them when they go live and it becomes available, but not sort of towards the end. And I think that's very important as well. So yeah, if you do remember to do that. Or if you want to pick up a second account, you want an EU account, you want an NA account, you want a login reward farm account, you want any of that stuff. Yeah, the links are in the description. If anyone's really casually watching right now and you don't really play the game, basically you can click the thing down below. If you get the game off of this stream, then it helps me out and helps me to sustain myself making videos and streams about this for as long as possible. Your videos have been keeping me busy at work. They're long and detailed. Thank you very much. Yeah, the Shining Blade initiation did feel out of place. Definitely. I would agree with that. Definitely. There you go, guys. That is Heart of Thorns. That is what ArenaNet has delivered over the past 2 years. And it's a phase of Guild Wars 2 that now is going down in the history books. You're going to blink your eyes and you're going to be like, wow, we're on the 3rd expansion now and we're talking about Season 5. Or we're talking about ArenaNet's upcoming best-selling mobile card game. And this will all be but a distant memory. The Heart of Thorns days will feel no more close to you as Living World Season 1 feels close to you now. Who remembers in very excruciating particular detail every one of those little patches? Not many of us from the Season 1 days. And before long, all of this, listening to me sitting in your chair right now where you currently live, watching Wood and Potatoes give you Path of Fire coverage and Heart of Thorns coverage, it's all going to become a blip on the horizon that was your life. Thanks very much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the stream. Check out the Discord if you like. And let's go host someone. All right, there you go. That's my crappy outro. I'm actually legitimately going to host someone. We're going to host someone who has no audience, and we're going to bomb them with thousands of people, and they're going to poo themselves, and it's going to be great. And hopefully that will encourage them to stick about in the scene. So, hold on. Let's see what we've got. I need to get to the Guild Wars 2 section. I'm so bad at Twitch, man. I'm legitimately so bad at Twitch. Let's see what we've got. Thanks for the hot tour. No worries, dude. No worries at all. Let's pick hype, reset raids. Screw that. Watching people raid is boring. Oh, that person who we were doing yesterday. What, guys? The person we hosted yesterday is online again, and she only has 3 viewers. What happened? Out of all of you that watched her, 3 of you stuck about. 3. That's the net benefit I've managed to offer that channel. 3 viewers. They've all gone already. Outrageous. There's a lot of ladies streaming. What is this? There's lots of them. Raids. Amazing player. No, I don't care if you play PUBG. 4 days, getting some hero points for my Ellie. I don't know who to pick. I don't know who to pick. It's quite interesting, actually. Let's see. All right, let's just do this random guy here. I like this. This random guy. 4 days, getting some hero points for my Ellie. Let's see how this guy does. So be nice to him, guys. Check out the Discords. Check out the YouTube channel when I can finally get some friggin' stuff going up. Thanks very much for enjoying the Heart of Thorns tour. And, I'll be in chat. Let's go do it. This MMO is so good, even girls play it. Lol.